Welcome to the True Patriot Show, State of the Union. On today's show, we talk about where America is today, the New Mexico extremists set free, police shooting conviction and acquittal, and much more. Stay tuned. And now your host, Chad Freeman and Mr. Tut.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the True Patriot Show podcast. We're glad to have you guys. We had an amazing night last night, right, Mr. Tut?
We sure did.
I think we had a good night.
It was very good.
Some of you wrote in and corrected us on a couple little things, which is cool. We're cool with that. We're not going to hate on you.
No.
But no, I mean, that's what we want, man. I mean, this podcast is all about community. That's what we want. I believe, especially in 2018 in America, man, you got to have community. I feel like that's so much of what is lost in our society today is just people getting along with each other, people actually caring about each other.
That is correct.
But yeah, so tonight, if you can read the title, it's going to be our State of the Union. It's kind of like what we think about where America is, and not just about where America is, but where it's going, what we can do about it, especially as conservatives. I know a lot of you that are listening are conservatives, or at least somewhere kind of in, that has views closer to the conservative base. And that's awesome, and that's the people we want. But, we don't close our show to anybody. If liberals are out there, Democrats, whatever, we welcome all of you to listen to us to get just who we are and what we're about. And, I don't think Mr. Tut is necessarily would consider himself a full-fledged conservative, but...
A little bit of both.
Yeah. I mean, and I think all of us, to a degree, there's the one thing I don't like about parties is that it seems like either party can do anything they want, and if you're a diehard liberal or a diehard conservative, it's like you have to go along and think it's okay. It's kind of the same thing. Some of the diehard conservatives, do not believe that there are bad cops out there, and that's just not true. Even though they may believe that, they may know that, but they're not going to admit it because they think, I can't admit that because I'm a conservative. And that's just not true. But yeah, so we got some awesome subjects coming to you guys here shortly. We're going to be talking about the, I'm sure all of you have heard, the extremist Muslim New Mexico compound. There were 5 suspects, right, Mr. Tut, originally?
Yeah, there were 5, but only 3 of them were let go. I think the other 2 are facing charges from the child that died on the compound.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that. I was kind of confused about that a little bit, but yeah. So the judge released these freaking animals, is what they are. They're absolutely batshit crazy.
Less than animals.
Yeah, and I mean, I love animals. These assholes are not animals. But yeah, they released them because of some 10-day rule. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We need to have a discussion, guys, especially when it comes to that, because, a terrorist attack hasn't happened in the United States. Really. I mean, I consider terrorism, though, domestic or international. I mean, I think if someone goes and mass shoots somebody, I think that's an act of terrorism. But we haven't really had a crazy extremist Muslim type thing happen here in a while. I don't think one has happened since Trump has been in office, but correct me if I'm wrong. But we got to talk about, what is the consequences of these camps? Because I guarantee you, this is not the only compound in the United States. I mean, they just now found this place. This guy's been training kids to kill for a while, apparently. So,
and the other night when we were talking about this, I had told you and Sherry that there were terrorist cells all over across the continental United States, and come to find out when we saw this, it proved my point right.
Yeah, it did. I mean, and that's 100% true, because I mean, if you really think about it, it's I don't know. It's strange. I mean, it's a weird thing because, and one of the things I'd said back to you was, I said, I don't think liberals believe that. And I think they know it, but like I said, it's against their liberal liberal views. So it's like I can't say that.
Right.
But anyways, so yeah, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about Todd Starnes' boycott. If you guys haven't heard this, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. A California Democrat politician is wanting Democrats to declare war on In-N-Out Burger. He's actually wanting a complete and full boycott on In-N-Out Burger in California. And I'm sure you can probably guess why. We won't say now, but we'll get to that story. And so we also going to talk about the cop that got acquitted. Was that today or yesterday?
I think it
pretty recently.
Might have been Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, it was pretty recently. A cop got acquitted for a officer involved shooting on a black male, I believe, and then also at the same time we had an officer get prosecuted for a similar incident. And so we're going to talk about those and just kind of jump in a little bit on kind of where is the United States now with the whole cop killing thing. It seems like it's at least media coverage has kind of definitely quieted down since Trump's been in office, but which is surprising to me actually. And we're also going to talk about a little bit about survival stuff. I'm going to throw that one in there today. I'm definitely a big proponent on knowing survival. I'm definitely a big proponent on knowing what you are capable of doing in the event that anything crazy happened. And the main reason that I'm saying that is because come midterms and come a lot of other stuff, a lot of stuff could happen. I truly believe. I mean, you've seen what happened when Trump got elected, and it was just, even though they, like I said, most of the liberal media kind of downplays it, but there are people showing up at Trump rallies beating the hell out of Trump supporters, and it just went on and on and on. So what happens if the Democrats get into office? What happens if they impeach Trump? What happens if we have a Democratic president again very soon? What happens? Any of that? It could spell insane stuff. But not only that, in 2020, what happens if Trump gets reelected? That's when I think some craziness will happen, because those people are freaking crazy. They are 100%. So we're going to talk about that. And then also another subject, we're going to talk about the Democrat. A Democratic representative is warning the immigration officers that are currently deporting people under federal law, under Trump's orders and under the administration's orders, that if the Democrats win, basically in the midterms, that they will all be prosecuted. So absolutely blows my mind. I know. So, these guys are doing their job, and so we'll read about that and kind of get you guys' opinion, even though I don't know if our chat is working or not. Something's been going on with the chat here, so if you can chat, do. If you can't, that sucks. Send us an email. We definitely check our emails on our website, truepatriotshow.com. You can go to the contact tab, and you can enter your information there and send us a quick email with a question you have or any of that stuff. You can do it on our contact page, and we will be checking those. So, like I said, let us know if you have a question. Okay? How about that? All right, so, Mr. Tutt, let's get to the first subject.
All right.
These three extremist Muslims from this New Mexico compound, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you guys kind of the story on a little bit of the background. It'll be brief, and then we'll jump into kind of what our thoughts are. So 3 suspects tied to a New Mexico compound where alleged Muslim extremists reportedly trained children to be school shooters. They were released from custody on Wednesday, hours after a judge dismissed all of the charges against them. It was Judge Emilio Chavez on Wednesday dismissed charges against 3 of the 5 defendants. And they said that the authorities violated the state's 10-day rule. Child abuse charges against them were dropped because the prosecutors missed the 10-day limit for an evidentiary hearing to establish probable cause. So during a separate hearing Wednesday, Judge Jeff McElroy dismissed the same charges against the fellow defendants. I'm not even going to read those names, but the charges leveled against them on Friday in connection to the death of a missing 3-year-old boy remain. So there were 2 individuals that remain in jail based on a child's remains that were found on the property. Imagine that. And then the boy's father and LaVille were charged with abuse of a child, resulting in the death of a child, and conspiracy to commit abuse of a child. I mean, these kids, man. Like, if you go online and you look at the pictures,
wow.
And on our YouTube video, once this is uploaded and all that stuff, I'll be sure to put these pictures on there. So if you're watching this later on the YouTube video, you'll see the pictures I'm talking about. But the pictures of these kids are just crazy.
Wow, man.
Do they not look? I mean, they kind of look scary.
Yeah.
They look a little scary.
Wow.
So the 5 suspects were arrested by authorities after an August 3rd raid following a months-long search investigation. The disappearance of the one kid, a 3-year-old boy with severe medical issues who went missing from Georgia in December. The occupants of the compound were most likely heavily armed and considered extremist of the Muslim belief. The Tejas County Sheriff's deputies discovered 11 children at the compound who were taken into custody of state child welfare workers. On August 6th, the child's remains were found on the property. So this guy was allegedly training children to commit school shootings, and then later alleged that juveniles were taught how to use firearms and as well as tactical techniques in order to kill teachers, law enforcement, and other institutions they found corrupt. And then I guess the judge said later Wednesday that it was a very difficult decision to drop the charges, but the rule left him with no option. Prosecutors could still seek charges for the 3 by asking a grand jury to indict them, but offered no immediate indication on how they would proceed. So yeah. That's insane.
Wow.
And you wonder what's wrong with our justice system.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like if I commit murder, if I kill somebody, they're not going to give me 10 days to come up with a pretrial or preliminary hearing to come up with enough evidence, to prove my case. They're going to throw me in jail until I have my trial and then decide my fate. There's no different from what these guys were doing. They're training kids to be terrorists. It is a major issue, around the world and in the United States.
Scary.
It's scary. I mean, I don't understand how could you let something like this be and let it go?
Well, and the weird thing about this is, this is one incident. This is one compound. This is one place they found. And, what it didn't say in that article, but is also true to this story, is that they linked a New York City, or I guess New York. I don't know if it was New York City or just the state of New York. I'm not sure. But they linked a New York mosque in connection with this New Mexico compound. And so when the New York authorities were going to go in and investigate, find out what was going on, the NCLU stopped them.
What?
Because of whatever political correctness BS it was.
Oh my goodness. Politics, man. Politics.
Yeah, it was political correctness, and I was kind of blown away. But the scary thing, guys, and this is what you have to understand, is like we're in a place in America that, two parties are completely divided, and I'm not saying that these guys were let go because of party differences, but it's just hard for me to believe that there was no way they could have kept these guys. It's hard for me to believe that. And I really have little to no faith in judges when it comes to Trump and his administration. I mean, ever since he tried to pass the immigration law, which was, or not the immigration law, but just the travel ban. He tried to pass the travel ban in order to protect Americans because, and I think he did finally pass that to a degree anyway. I don't think it was the original kind of write up, but he did it to protect Americans, and so he did it to keep people like this out. Now, whether or not these people stayed, have lived here their whole lives or whatever the case is, they were still, they were practicing Islam. That's what these guys believed in. And, of course, if you ask a Democrat or a liberal or whatever about Islam, they're going to defend it till the end of the earth. And they're going to say you're racist and you're a hate. You're a hate speech or you have hate speech if you talk about Islam, or why shouldn't we have Sharia law in the United States and all this crazy shit I hear people talk about. But the scary thing is these guys exist here, and those are not the only people. Trust me. And because of our crazy ass whatever justice system, we just let people go that. Who knows, man? I mean, obviously, I'm sure they're being monitored. I would hope right now when they're out, but I don't know. The big question is, how did it go this long until they found it?
My opinion, we mentioned the word politics, just a few moments ago. I think they know about a lot of things that go on, behind the curtains, but due to politics, they can't do it. They don't do things about it. Politics plays a large role in, our everyday lives.
Especially in the justice system, because that's where all the politics are. They're all elected.
Yes. Elected, yes.
You elect all these people in the office, and the bad thing is it can backfire, and I think it did. And like I said, I don't think. I mean, here's the thing: the 10-day rule. I would be interested to know what political party this Judge Chavez or whatever his name is involved in and is with. I would be blown away just to see what his political party was. And it wouldn't surprise me. I just it's hard for me to believe, or even the prosecutor. Why didn't the prosecutor have enough evidence? What they said in the story was, I guess it's the law or whatever, that you have 10 days to provide probable cause. I mean, and the authorities were all over this compound since these guys were arrested. How in the hell did these guys not have probable cause in 10 days? I mean, do you understand that, like, there is a such thing, which I'm not going to go deep in this. This will be another thing, but there's a such thing in America today, and it's not practiced very many places, but it's called civil asset forfeiture. And we've talked about this, but it's where police can take your property based on probable cause. And sometimes all that probable cause has to be is an officer smells a drug in your car.
Yeah.
And they can take your vehicle. And yes, you can get it back, but you better have the money to pay a lawyer and fight it in court.
Wow.
And sometimes that can cost you more than the damn car's worth.
Might as well get a new damn car.
So what you're telling me is a police officer can come up to your car, say they smell weed, then they can make that into a story by saying that, hey, we think that you're using this vehicle to transport drugs, and so therefore we're going to take your vehicle. And sometimes these people that have their property taken are never even actually charged with a crime, which is what blows me away. So you're telling me that we can do that in America, but yet we can't hold people that were knowingly training children to go shoot up schools. Does that not sound just completely fucked up?
See, that, in my opinion, is a form of martial law. We've talked about that a lot, and you
talking about the civil asset forfeiture, type stuff. Yeah,
that's a form. Just like the other night when I told you, if there was martial law, they could just come into your house, break down your door, and search for your guns.
Yeah, they don't need search warrants at that point. Yeah,
right. I mean, that's something similar to that. I mean, that's a form of martial law. They're taking little steps towards it, and I think it's going to be here. I think it's coming. We just need really one good event for it to happen. How long martial law will be here? I don't know. Temporarily.
Well, do you think that would happen more so under a Republican president or Democrat?
It doesn't matter. If
Because really, I guess Congress would have to be in on that. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter the president. If something happens to where they have to use martial law, they'll do it no matter if Bugs Bunny is the president. It doesn't matter who the president is.
Oh, man. I can see memes of that. Bugs Bunny as the president. But you're right. I mean, I think you're probably right. It's just, I guess my whole thing is like, we have these places in America.
Oh, yes.
And this is all the more proof of that right now.
Yes.
And the scary thing is, it's like, wow, these Islamic believers, you know, and I don't care if anybody's out there is like, oh my God, I cannot believe he said Islamic believers. He is talking hate speech. No, it's just the damn truth, man. Like, if you look up Sharia law, and it's funny because actually today when me and Mr. Tut was looking this up, and when you look up like what is Sharia law, or like why is Sharia law bad, Google will only show you good articles about Sharia law, and I think that's funny. It's like, you know, that I don't think we understand to the degree of like what the media in all aspects. I'm not just talking about the media as far as, you know, CNN, Fox News. I'm talking about our search results that we look up. I'm talking about YouTube. I'm talking about Facebook and all this. Facebook and YouTube and all those places, they control what we see. It's not just CNN. It's not just the TV. It is when we look something up, you know, the top articles or the top this and the top that will be based on whoever the higher up is at Google, and whatever they believe is what you're going to see at the end of the day. So it kind of goes back to this, is that no matter what, you look up stuff or anytime, you know, true patriots give a shit about their country, it's like we're the ones in the wrong. Just like these guys, man. If someone would have noticed something or seen something, you know, they have this new saying: if you see something, say something. You know, that's the saying. But yet, if you do say something, and you're especially if you're white, but if you see something and you're white or you are Republican for damn sure, then you're racist.
Wow.
You're judging. Wow. You're judging because, and if whatever you see seems suspicious, and they happen to be black or Mexican or Islamic or any of that shit, if you see something like that and you say something because it does seem suspicious of whatever they're doing, you're then a racist or you're judgmental. So I mean, it's like, what the hell do you do?
Well, I'm kind of confused now about you seeing what.
Well, you know, that whole new saying they got, you know, to supposedly try to prevent school shootings and all this.
Oh, okay.
They got the saying is like, if you see something, say something.
Oh, right.
But what I'm saying is like, I mean, I think a lot of people just let shit go because they're afraid that, you know, it looks judgmental or it looks racist or it looks this.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You know, America's so afraid to say anything now because everything is going so damn politically correct. And it's funny. There was a guy I posted, which I wish I actually, I'm going to put this on this part of the episode if I remember in the video. But there's a picture going around that has this father, I guess his son in elementary school. His son brought home a permission slip to say the Pledge of Allegiance at school. You know, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's how politically correct this country's getting now. It's like, well, no, I don't want my son saying the Pledge of Allegiance because that's, you know, that's against our whatever the hell crazy ass law religion is.
When they took prayer, I don't know when they took prayer out of schools. When they took prayer out of schools, that's when you started seeing all these school shootings.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Really, I mean, seriously, that's when all that stuff started happening. I mean, it might have been a couple of years, but that's when you start seeing it.
Well, and unfortunately, guys and ladies and gentlemen, especially you conservatives out there, you'll love this shit. But no, you know, the bad thing is the bad thing is that many teachers, many professors, all these people, college professors, high school teachers, all of you, all of those people, many of them are liberals nowadays, and they're very, very left, liberal, Democrat, and so their views and their teaching, is they're trying to teach our kids that liberals the right way, Democrats the right way. And so all of this, and it's happening now. I mean, it's happening right now that our youth is in some ways getting brainwashed to believe one way. You know what I'm saying? So the issue is that 10 years from now, what is this country going to be? Because that side don't like authority in most cases. They don't like police. They don't like anything that has to do with religion whatsoever. If you're a Christian or you believe in God or you believe in Jesus, they hate you because, they lump Christians with conservatives. They think, when you hear conservative, they say, oh, they're Christians. Screw them. Like, we don't want to, they're the crazy ones. And so that's the scary thing 10 years from now. Where are we going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when all these kids that have been basically brainwashed in the school system, because like I said, nowadays, Pledge of Allegiance, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to, you're not supposed to stand for a national anthem. You're not supposed to say the Pledge of Allegiance because it has God in it, or, it's 10 or 20 years from now. If you think the country's bad now, you just wait.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be bad. It's really going to be bad.
And it's like I said the last episode, a lot of my friends I've lost that were Democrats were atheists.
Yeah.
A lot of them were. And it's just, not only do we not see eye to eye when it comes to, religion, well, we don't see eye to eye when it comes to politics either.
Yes, that is correct. And going back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago about Muslims, I don't want people to think that we're bashing Muslims or anything. That is not the case. There's different there's different denominations. I think in Islam, just like it is in Christianity, you got different denominations.
Crazy white people, crazy black people, normal black people.
Some denominations,
normal white people.
Some denominations they teach basically the same thing, but they have different beliefs. Just like in Islam, like you got Islamic extremists, like these guys that we were just talking about. Now, some Muslims believe that if they carry out suicide bombings or kill, a certain amount of people, that they're going to die, go to heaven, and get 10 or 20 virgin wives. This is what they're being taught,
Why would you want virgins, though?
Why not?
I'm just saying, why would you want virgins? And Sherry has joined us. Hey, Sherry.
And because they're the purest.
Yeah,
right.
Because they're purist. But why do you want someone that don't know what they're doing? It's weird.
I'm not going to go there, but
I'm just saying.
I'm not going to go there.
I'm not saying you want someone that is like a CEO in sex or anything, because then, you don't want that either. but you also don't want an intern. You know what I mean? It's like, you need somebody that's like working their way up, okay?
Anyway, no, but seriously, that's what some of these Muslim people, that's what they believe, and that's why you see them doing some of the things that they do, because of their religious beliefs. All Muslims don't believe in that, but you got certain ones that do.
Well, okay, so going back to these guys, what do you think? Like, if you look at the whole picture, how many groups do you think are in the country like this?
Oh man!
But you did call it. You were the one that said this the last episode.
That's right. And bam, this article that we ran across. It's true, man. Not when I lived in New York City, I saw a lot of different a lot of different things that I never imagined that I would see, you know, in my life. You know, it's just it's a lot.
It's a different culture there.
It's a lot of different cultures there, and
honestly, I'm surprised more terrorist attacks don't happen in New York. Like I'm really surprised with as many
true.
people is there. It just seems like you'd be able to just kind of slip under all the radars on that.
That's right. That's right.
But I will say, New York City Police has done a pretty good job with controlling that city.
Yeah. Especially, you know, with me living up there, seeing how they operate. They do a pretty good job, but they can't do it all.
Yeah.
You know, they were there when 9/11 happened, so you know it's.
And just thinking about these Muslim Islamic whoever they are. I mean, you know, all the kids are now placed in foster care. But it's like, how completely fucked are their minds going to be?
Man.
I mean, these kids looking at a picture, and like I said, I'm gonna put the picture in the video. These kids looking at the picture, which I lost, or oh no, there it is. Yeah, looking at the picture, it just looks like, I don't know how old they are. I mean, I know it says in the article somewhere. I know that, but they don't look. I mean,
They don't look over 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably around there.
Wow.
But they look scary.
But it's almost like they're born to be trained.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. Training.
Well, I mean, look, you know, in the picture, they're all in white robes with the hoods. That's like a Muslim Islamic thing, right? The white robes.
Well,
and I think that, I could be wrong, but I think that means something like purity.
yeah. That's really meant to be in all religions. Well, you know,
Oh yeah,
whatever you.
they're pure until they go
Yeah.
and kill all these people.
Yeah.
But then they're even more pure. See, that's the scary thing about that religion. And, you know, people can say whatever they want, and they can say, well, you know, we're not allowed to hate Islam, and we're not. And I don't hate any religion or any group of people.
Right, just like I just said.
But
you know,
what I will
don't
tell
hate-
you is that a lot of Islamics are taught and in their mind they're taught to hate Westerners. They hate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they believe that the only law, the only authority is Sharia law. So, and if you go look at Sharia law and you find out a little bit, you dig a little bit, kind of just see what Sharia law is all about, it's some scary shit.
Wow.
I mean, it's scary. I mean, you know, I don't know exactly where there's a place you can read the Sharia law. I'm sure there is.
But Chad, I'm just wondering, like, what's the difference between the religion of Islam and the the radical Islam?
Well, I mean, the religion of Islam and the different. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not an expert on that. But
Me either, but just like what I said earlier, I think there's different denominations within Islam, just like, you know, Christianity and all. And I think that's
it's like being a Baptist or a Mormon.
right. Yeah, they're
No,
both Christians, but you know,
Yeah. That's
or Jehovah, you know.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
They always come to your door. You don't have to worry about Jehovah's Witnesses much killing you. You just got to worry about them killing you with boredom of whatever they're talking about. It's always funny because there was one time these Jehovah's Witnesses came to the door and I just sat there and tried to sell them something.
What?
Yeah, and I just try to talk as much as possible. And just try to like talk as much as possible and try to sell them on some random shit that they would definitely not want. And then they were like, all right, guys, so anyways, we gave you our pamphlets. We're going to get out of here. We got to go. We got more houses to hit.
I heard somebody tell me one time that Jehovah's Witness always came to their door when they didn't want to be bothered.
Yep.
So he went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife and opened up the door
shit.
and just, ah.
Oh, my God. It wasn't even Halloween either, I guarantee it.
He said that joker jetted out. He jetted out of there, man.
That's funny. That's hilarious. So to kind of sum this story up, it's a scary thing that there are definitely more terrorist camps in the United States. There are plenty of places in the United States to bug out to. When I say bug out, meaning, you know, get somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like Alex Jones, man, he was one of the first ones to kind of really publicize the underground city. If you remember.
Yeah, I saw that video. I think I brought it to your attention. I saw that the underground bunkers. Man,
where was that? I mean, wasn't it like
I don't
Virginia somewhere or something?
I don't remember where he said it was. It's just a 30-second, 1 minute video.
And I'm guessing that has something to do with probably nuclear war, but who knows, man? I mean, if they got an entire underground city, and
it's a city, bro. I mean, there were 18-wheelers driving.
Oh yeah, in the tunnels.
In the tunnels. I mean, that's how big they are.
Yeah, it's huge. And Alex Jones was one of the first ones to kind of really publicize it because he had a following.
Yeah.
And once he had a following, he got that that story out there, which I think is amazing. That's what I think, and that's one of the reasons we started the podcast, man. We want to be able to bring the real shit, man. We want to talk about the real stuff, and we're not big right now, but someday when we are, because you guys are going to help us get there.
That's right.
You guys are going to help us get there
right.
and spread our message, because it's not just our message; it's all of your messages. It's everything you guys do. Community is about what someone's beliefs are in the whole. I believe. I believe our beliefs and our, forget the constitutional line or forget the political lines, forget conservative or Democrat, but it's just being an American, and not just an American, being someone that still believes in God and still believes in the Bible. Or, I mean, and I'm not saying all conservatives do, and that's your thing if you don't, but I'm saying being a patriot, and I believe a patriot defends their government. Against, but I also believe you can't always defend your government if they're wrong, and that's also kind of my stance on that. But
and another thing about it, we can't always depend on the U.S. government or the military to help keep America safe.
Hell no, nope.
The American people have to do it.
Second Amendment.
That's right, because there's a lot. I mean, we're blessed to be able to, live in the United States of America. There's a lot of third world countries out there that people around the world that don't have running water or electricity and have to walk for miles just to get water and food.
Well, do you think these people that you think these people that said if Donald Trump got elected, they were going to move out of the country? Well, do you think they would like not having water over Donald Trump as their president?
Well, I think a lot of those people referred to places like Canada or the UK.
True. They probably did, but honestly, like the UK nowadays, I wouldn't even want to be in.
I know it, man. There's a lot happening. I mean, I would love to visit the UK. I mean, even live, if I could, but there's a lot of stuff that has gone on over there for the last couple of years also. So
this is just in my mind, and everyone, I want you to take note right now. If you have a notepad or you have a recorder no, you do have a podcast, you can just download. But you can just take note of this time, 38:16 in the podcast. That's what I was actually going to talk about earlier. When I posted that picture on my Facebook about that dad that posted the picture of his son bringing home the permission slip to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I have quite a few people on my Facebook that are from all over the country, or not country, but all over the world. I used to, I still am. I'm still in marketing. I have a travel website and some other stuff, but so I know a lot of people when it comes to like different parts of the world, and so this one person commented, he lives in the UK, and he said, it's funny. He's like, I'm seeing that, and he said it's sad because he said it's like America is getting as politically correct almost as the UK.
Wow.
Today.
Wow.
But you want me to tell you the deeper message I got with that?
What's that?
The deeper message, and it was like you don't really hear too much in the media here about the UK or England or any of that.
Right, you really don't.
But the deeper message I got from that, the first name that popped up in my mind when that guy said the United States is getting as politically correct as the UK is. Because if that area over there, like all of that, their gun laws are the strictest, some of the strictest in the world. Their police officers on a large scale don't even have weapons, and there's only certain special teams that have firearms.
Wow.
So the regular police officers don't even have firearms.
Wow.
But do you want me to tell you what the first name that popped in my head when I heard that?
What?
This thing. He's a commentator. He's a guy that's getting banned right now. Alex Jones.
Alex Jones, yeah. Alex.
But I'll tell you why Alex Jones popped in my head when that guy told me that, and it set off like alarms in my head. Because Alex Jones is one of his biggest things is globalism. You know, fight the globalists, fight the people that want to globalize.
Powers that be.
Yeah, and in the Bible, if you read the Bible, it talks about a one world government. It talks about towards the end times that a one world government will come into fruition and all of that. And so when that guy it was weird because it was like he's like, oh, you guys are almost getting as bad as we are as far as political correctness. So if you think about it, it's like if you think about the Democratic Party and all the people that are pushing the political correctness, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got to do this. It's really getting it's almost like they're trying to get America in line with the United Kingdom, with that whole area over there, and their beliefs, so that eventually somebody comes out and is like, hey, let's just all be one government.
Right.
You know, let's all make the same laws, the same rules. You can't do this, you can't do that. The UK is already there as far as like censoring you can't have guns, you can't do this, you can't do that. You can't say anything that is going to hurt someone's feelings. And the United States has been trying their ass off to get there. And under Obama's term, it was really trying to get there, man. Obama had a plan, and it wasn't Obama that had the plan, it was the Democratic Party that had a plan. That party had a plan, and I think it was a big plan. I think it was a spectrum of 20 years from now plan to where when we can finally dissolve into one government.
Right. Not only are they trying to accomplish having one world government, they're trying to have one world religion also. That from what I've been hearing over the last couple of years, they're trying to combine Christianity and Islam and call it Chrislam. Yeah. I mean, you know how people talk, but
Merry Chrislam.
Yeah, and that might have a lot to do with why they're having so much leniency over when it comes to these Islamic extremists. You never know politics, man. You never know what these people are trying to do.
But do you not think though that's kind of weird? I mean,
what?
Do you not think? I mean, would that not kind of set off something in your head when some guy from the UK is like, "Man, you guys are almost getting as politically correct as we are"?
Yeah.
It just made me think of Alex Jones and everything he has stood for and everything he has said.
Yes.
Is like globalist.
Yes.
These globalists are trying to take over. These globalists, these communists, these whatever. I mean, it's true. And it's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And I know we got a little off topic here, guys, from the Islamic terror group in New Mexico, but it kind of all ties in, really.
It does.
I mean,
it does really.
And the thing is like, why do the Democrats fight so hard for just letting anybody in the country? Why? Does that make any damn sense? Like, why?
They want that vote. It's all about that vote.
Yeah, but these people that just randomly come in the country, they can't vote anyway, even though
they'll get citizenship somehow.
Oh yeah, they'll get fake IDs to vote because that was already proven.
And a lot of them are coming over here, getting government assistance. I mean, all over. I mean, not that I'm against that or anything, but you need help. But
no, but there's more people that are on government assistance that are not even. I mean, I've heard of illegals getting government assistance.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
I mean, these sanctuary cities, they'll give them anything, man.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, what these sanctuary cities don't even freaking realize is that some of these people that they're protecting so hard could be terrorists. I mean, really, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because trust me, terrorists are going to utilize that bullshit. I mean, terrorists. If I'm in Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever, and I'm sitting there listening, I can just watch the news in America and see how divided the parties are,
right?
And see that the Democrats absolutely hate the Republicans, and vice versa. And I can use that to my advantage, man. because, hell, I'm like, damn, if I can come over here and get on the Democrat side, I'm good.
Right.
Until I carry out my mass terrorist thing.
The government wants. I mean, I don't think that they are against our, I guess, so-called enemies as much as we think they are, because back in the day they gave Osama bin Laden weapons to help fight against what was it, the Cold War? The Cold War?
I don't know. It wasn't the Cold War.
It was somewhere. It might have been in Afghanistan somewhere. But they put what's the one that they executed a couple of years ago in Iraq? The one in Iraq.
Are you talking about like the
Saddam Hussein?
Oh yeah, Saddam Hussein.
I heard that American government put him in power.
Mm-hmm.
But
but they did actually. I mean, there was it was kind of a thing that happened. And see, here's the thing, guys, and I'll tell you this straight up. Like, I'm conservative, but I believe most of my views are conservative. I'd say probably 80%. But Trump, in my opinion, is one of our best presidents we've ever had. Reagan was another amazing president. But like I said, there were certain things Democratic presidents have done in the past that I agreed with and I liked, and I thought they were doing a decent job. But nowadays, Democrat and Republican means completely different things. 10 years ago, Democrat and Republican was a party, and there were still good people in both parties to some degree. And I'm not saying there's not good people in both parties, but what I'm saying is politician-wise, agenda-wise. What is the agenda that this party's pushing and this party's pushing? There's always been agendas, but it's just been less crazy. You know what I mean? It's gotten kind of absurd.
Well, we're getting closer to that time, man. Just like, my opinion, I think we're getting closer to the time that they're trying to push this one world government, and this system is falling apart purposely, so they can bring that in, usher it in.
Well, and anytime a system falls apart, anytime a leadership falls apart, anytime anything like that, it's just like when Obama and the Ferguson riots and then Charlotte came, and then the Dallas police officer killings, and then there was a riot there, and whenever your leadership is basically not going against, it's not, if you're not condemning something that is completely wrong, and then in some ways Obama came out in somewhat of support of these people. That's what made it 10 times worse. So anyways, but yeah, it's a completely crazy climate. And we're going to have to figure it out. I mean, but like I said, I believe, and we're going to get a little more into some of the political stuff coming up, but next story, guys, that I have to talk about. I just think it's funny, especially considering where it is. Is Todd Starnes? He wants to boycott California. Well, it's actually California Democrats. They declared war on the In-N-Out Burger.
Why? Why?
And you know what an In-N-Out Burger is so famous for is, I mean, if you listen to any celebrity that lives in California. Or even celebrities that don't live there. If you ask them where their best fast food place is, they're going to say In-N-Out Burger. Well, they're boycotting In-N-Out Burger because In-N-Out Burger has donated $25,000 to the GOP.
Wow.
The grand old party.
Oh, wow. The grand old party.
Yeah, the grand old party. And I don't know why exactly it doesn't really matter. It's only $25,000. I mean, as much money as they have, I mean, it's $25,000, but do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's the same thing as when Chick-fil-A came across and were like, you know what? We don't support gay people. We don't believe in gays. We don't believe that it goes with the Bible, and so we can't be supportive of that. And Chick-fil-A made a statement. They came out and said, we don't agree with gay people. We don't, we think it's a sin. And then, of course, gay people wanted to, boycott Chick-fil-A. But I wonder how many gay people really boycotted Chick-fil-A, because
those are not many.
I guarantee you they're not going to resist that chicken sandwich for too long.
That sucker's good, boy.
It is pretty good. I don't even care if they said, hey, we boycott white people. I might go there still. Like, I don't care. You know what? I'm here. It's like everybody else. There's like no white people in the store, and I'm just standing there like, I'm trying to get my chicken nuggets. That's all I want. But what does this say to you? I mean, it's like, you can't even, somebody can't even, okay, so you boycott it. And now, unfortunately for In-N-Out Burger, they are in California.
Right.
You know, Chick-fil-A's everywhere. So it's like someone saying, well, gay people are going to boycott Chick-fil-A. And it wasn't just gay people, it was Democrats and basically anybody that aligned themselves with that. But, what the hell do you say then?
I don't know, man. I've always been taught that it's always better to give than receive. This man gave $25,000 and he's paying the price for it,
Yeah. Could be a woman.
Yeah,
owner.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who owns In-N-Out Burger. But the sad thing is they're going to catch hell, boy, because they're in California. They are in California. And I guarantee a boycott might work out there.
Nah. Well,
I guarantee
that
you,
is a liberal
it's
state.
California.
That
Yeah,
is a liberal state. I forgot about they
California.
won every election from presidents for a very long time.
California has to be the most democratic state
Yeah.
in the country.
Yeah. But, I don't think it will affect business. I really
Well, In-N-Out Burger, if you're listening to this, you can come to South Carolina.
I've heard good things. Matter of fact, one of my Instagram friends was out in California yesterday, and they posted them eating an In-N-Out Burger. And
Really?
I didn't know that we were going to have this topic tonight. I was like, wow, man.
I just wonder I wonder how In-N-Out Burger compares to I don't know. My favorite fast food place, personally, I know it sounds crazy, is Burger King probably. Their
King.
Burgers.
I love the Whopper. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not a big fan. I just like the double cheeseburger.
I love the Whopper now. Don't get me wrong, but I think the best, as far as like home cooked meals, as far as at a restaurant, are the mom and pop.
Really?
Mom and pop stores, man. Like
The clocks.
Yeah, man. That's
Which I wonder. I don't know if the clocks are all around the country or not, but they're they're like in North Carolina, and
probably the Carolinas, and none in Georgia. I didn't see any in Georgia when I was down there. But
Mr. Tut. Now, what if they said that they boycotted black people? Would you still go there to get a burger?
Probably not. Probably
shit.
not.
I probably wouldn't go there if they boycotted white people either.
Nah, I probably wouldn't, man.
But anyways, guys, look the story up. It's the boycott of the In-N-Out Burger, California. I had to talk about that because I just think it's freaking ridiculous. It doesn't surprise me though, in the same sense of the word. But it is what it is. It's crazy.
Yeah,
is that not crazy?
That's crazy, man. I mean, that's crazy.
But yeah, so the next subject, which honestly, we have a break coming up, and this next subject I really want to kind of dig in on, and it's about the cop that gets acquitted and the officer gets prosecuted, and one officer gets prosecuted. And I'll tell you why I want to dig into that is because, as most conservatives, they believe, look, hey, we're Democrats, so, most conservatives believe, hey, we're conservatives. We believe all cops are completely fine. They're great. They're amazing. Don't ever say anything bad about any police officer in the United States. And that's just bullshit. I mean, it is. Like, it's 100% bullshit. And I believe, and I think you believe, because we were talking about this earlier, that most police officers are good. Most.
Yeah,
the majority.
I think there's more good cops than bad, but it's like the bad cops always make
the headlines,
man. I mean,
but what if you had 5 Fox Newses instead of 1 Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, and all that? I guarantee they wouldn't make the news then.
No, you're right.
I mean, but it's my point.
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
they wouldn't make the news then.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough to say as far as, I don't know, all that. Do you want to go to break first, Nick? Or do you
we
want
can. We can take a quick one.
All right. Guys, we're going to take a break, and then when we get back, we are going to talk about this whole police thing. We want to get you guys' opinions, too. Send us an email. Let us know what the deal is. I don't think our chat's still working, but send us an email on what your thoughts are on police. Like I said, there's definitely, I think, more good police than bad, but I want to dig in a little bit on this topic from a conservative point of view. An unbiased, no bullshit, no censorship, no network media point of view on the police situation in the country. I want to dig into that. Let's have a real conversation about it because, like I said, it's not all, blueberries and waffles at the end of the day. So anyways, but we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Oh, by the way, I'm going to pre-warn you. These songs tonight, they're a little
hardcore.
They're a little hardcore, but man, I just felt like we needed it, man. Just believe in America when you hear these songs, okay?
Now, if you up in age, you may not like them.
You may not like these songs.
Be warned.
You may not like these songs if you're a little older, but hey, just listen. All right, guys. Talk to you in about 7 minutes.
Soldiers to a common war we fight, to this passion of love we may fair and die. I'm slipping further, we're falling faster, we're growing stronger. Let's all grow weaker than I know. You break me down and you make
Oh yeah, that was some good music. Some of you might be like, "What the hell is that?"
A little hardcore.
It was. But you know what? I like rock, man. I think rock's pretty good.
Oh yeah. A guitar, man. I like the guitar.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. So welcome back to the True Patriot Show podcast. Talked about some crazy stuff tonight so far.
Oh yeah.
So we got this police shooting. One officer gets acquitted, one gets prosecuted. What's the deal with that, Mr. Tutt?
Well, a Texas police officer, 38-year-old Roy Oliver, shot and killed a Texas teen in 2017. From what I understand, they were dispatched. Him and his partner was dispatched to a house party, and Oliver went inside of the house to see what the problem was. I think they had got word that there was some underage drinking going on in the house, and while he was in the house, his partner was outside. So while Oliver was inside of the house, he heard gunshots. So when he heard the gunshots, he ran outside, and the first thing he saw was a moving vehicle. And the first thing he did was shoot inside of the moving vehicle and shot and killed one of the teens. Now, his story was he thought that his partner's life was in danger when that's why he shot. And
so this is the prosecuted one, I assume.
Yes. We're going to get to that. But the shots that they heard were up the street at a nursing home, from what I understand. And at the trial, his partner took the stand, and his partner, I guess the prosecutors asked his partner, did he feel that his life was in danger? And his partner said no, he did not feel that his life was in danger.
Wow, so his partner ratted him out.
Well, I wouldn't say ratted out. I mean, he
just told the truth.
Yeah, he told it. I mean, the best he could, and the jury sentenced Mr. Oliver to 15 years in prison and fined him $10,000. Man, I mean,
wow.
Yeah,
10 years.
15 years.
Oh, 15 years.
$10,000 fine. You know the thing about being a police officer.
Well, I guarantee he didn't have $10,000 probably as a cop.
I can't go there.
Asset wise,
can't go. But the thing about it, it's a thin line, because when you're a police officer, it's like your life and your fate is, it's a split-second decision. It's either going to be your life or somebody else's life. And unfortunately, the young teen.
So this guy, where was he at when he shot again? Tell me that again.
He was inside of the house.
Of what house? Did he get called to a call?
They were dispatched to a house party.
Okay.
Where the teens were.
I got you.
And so when he heard the shots, he came outside, saw the moving vehicle. They would just happen to be leaving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
He just started shooting because he claimed that he thought his partner's life was in danger.
So his partner was outside?
Yes, his partner stayed outside.
Wow. So this dude just pulls his gun and starts shooting.
And, I think that split second really cost him.
Well, I'll be honest, man. This is one of those situations I don't believe that's a split second type of decision that they talk about.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that because his life wasn't in danger.
No, his life wasn't in danger for damn sure. But, I mean, especially if your partner's outside and there's a car leaving.
Right.
And you heard shots when you were in the house.
Right.
Obviously, that immediate threat that you heard in the house is leaving.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't know. That kind of sounds sketchy. So let's talk about the other one real quick, and we'll kind of go back and forth. But
this was
and this was an older one. I remember seeing this video.
Yeah, this happened in 2016, but both trials were this week. So they had both trials this week. This was Highway Patrol or Sheriff. I don't know what she worked. I
don't remember either.
Branch she worked for, but her name was Betty Shelby from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Betty, that don't help her case.
she shot and killed a guy named Terrence Crutcher. His car broke down on a Oklahoma highway, and when they were dispatched to the scene, she got out of her squad car and walked to the vehicle, and no one was in it.
Wow.
And, she cleared it. She cleared
I
it.
remember this.
She cleared it, and when she started walking back to her patrol car, she saw this big 250-pound black guy, come, walking towards her all sweaty, and she claimed that she smelled, drugs or PCP. So he put his hands up in the air. And, he was walking on the road back towards the car. Okay, and that was like her and 3 or 4 other officers walking behind him. And it looked as if they had their guns out. I couldn't tell because
they did. I think they did. Yeah,
it was a helicopter view.
Pretty sure they did.
So his hands stayed up the whole time. So when he got back to his car or his vehicle, he turned towards the car and put his hands on like the door or where the window was down, and that's when she shot because she claimed that
he was reaching in the vehicle,
right? Or is as if he hesitated to reach in the car or put his hands in his pockets or one other.
I'll tell you, when I actually first saw this video.
Oh, you saw the video? Okay.
Yeah, I saw the video. And I actually saw it probably back towards probably a couple weeks after it happened. But I watched this video, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know. Yeah, anyways, we were just on the heels, not on the heels, but we were just coming off of all the police brutality, shooting, freaking riots. I mean, it was like we were kind of slowly getting past that, and then this video comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm pro law enforcement for the most part. Obviously, we need police, and that's 100% the fact. But I remember seeing this video, and actually, we didn't know we were going to talk about this, or I didn't until yesterday, I believe. And I didn't even go rewatch the video. But I remember but this was a video that kind of has stuck in my mind as far as like. I remember when I watched it, I was like, wow, she's going to jail.
Yeah. Everybody just knew that she was going to jail. There was.
Yeah, and then she came out with the story of like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe this. Of course, certain media outlets, prosecuted her already before, and then there were a couple that didn't. But here's the thing, like I have law enforcement training, and Mr. Tutt, you do too.
Oh yeah, bit.
The one thing in this situation, and now there's two different things here. If she was there by herself, it's a different situation,
right?
If she's there completely by herself, she's this little girl. I mean, she wasn't a big lady,
right?
And a lot of women police officers are not,
right?
But if she was there by herself, then obviously she would have her deadly weapon, which is her Glock or whatever, out,
right? Because
she has to make sure you can't go up on a scene like that with a taser, because then if there is a death situation, if there's a use of force situation, you're kind of screwed if he has a gun,
right?
But the fact that that was the one thing that stuck in my mind. I was like, it's not just her when she shoots this guy. Now, she was the one kind of leading the charge.
Right, she was.
She was the one that was walking out there, and I remember the other officers were behind her, sort of.
Yes.
But in any law enforcement training, especially in a situation like this, to where when it's getting close to the point where you feel like, because look, it don't just happen like that.
Right.
She knew at some point, probably within 5 minutes of her trying to talk him down and trying to tell him to cooperate, she knew when he started not cooperating, she knew this was going to be a no cooperation situation.
Right.
And anything could have went from that. And so the other officers should have realized that, and there's no way they couldn't have. The mistake here that was made was that no one, in training they teach you, especially if you have more than one officer on the scene, you need to have a deadly force scenario, which is her, if she has a gun out. And then the other officer needs to have a less lethal option, which would mean taser. So that either thing that happens, they have the answer to it. And unfortunately, what they should have done was when he was walking back to his car, they should have tased him.
Right, I agree. Because the guys in the helicopter, you could hear the audio.
They thought they tased him, right?
Right, they thought he was tasered, but that's where, you made a very good point about, the taser. Because they thought they thought the same thing you thought.
Yeah,
about the taser. Even though they made the wrong protocols and they didn't go.
They handled it wrong.
They handled it wrong.
Training was wrong, something.
But at the same time, where in my opinion, I think Mr. Crutcher made a very costly mistake was when he took his hands out of the air and put them on the car. That gave her a reason to do what she did, and that's why the jury did not find her guilty.
Yeah, because, if you really put yourself in the situation, if you take yourself out of the training mishap, I believe here, or something, protocol, if you put yourself in her position, she was the one that had a weapon. She was the one that was closer to him. She probably did think her life was in danger.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that she didn't think her life was in danger. She probably did. When he put his hands in the car, and he's already not cooperating. What's going to make you think he's just going in there to get his wallet to cooperate?
Right.
Because they didn't ask him about his wallet. They didn't ask him to go get his ID or none of that shit.
No, they didn't.
No, they said, you stop, quit moving, do this, do this.
But when he put his hands on that car as if he was going inside the car, that created probable cause, I guess you would say. And when I was doing my law enforcement, I've seen cops try to use tasers. I've seen tasers get stuck in the holster. I've seen tasers fall short of the victim, go this way, or one cartridge would go this way. So and
then you've seen them hit him and nothing happens.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So
and there are some criminals nowadays that if they're going out and doing some crazy shit, they actually will wear like 3 layers of clothing.
Yeah,
in the situation that
Yeah.
they're running from the police.
Yeah,
because the taser is harder to penetrate.
Yeah.
with different clothing.
Yeah. And one guy was telling me that they brought him in, and he was telling me the story. He said he got into an altercation with a guy, and cops came, and 3 or 4 cops tased him, and it didn't even affect him. And they asked him, they said, "Have you been in the military?" He said, "Yeah." So I don't know what it is about being in the military or knowing how to resist those things, or I don't know, but tasers don't always work. My point. Tasers
there can be, training or not, man, there can be people that, you think that they're even small little dudes, man. Sometimes you think the bigger guys are the ones that won't fall, and a lot of times that's the case, but there are small guys that can take it too. It just depends.
Yeah, I guess every person is different.
And I've been tasered, and it sucks. And
for real,
yeah, it's just.
I don't think I would want to get tased like that, but at the end of the day, I really hate to that Mr. Crutcher, lost his life, and I feel sorry for the family, losing a loved one and all.
Can we look up if he had a weapon in the vehicle? Let me look him up.
I guess you could.
Because that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's a big thing as far as like, whether or not you feel sorry for him or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, he was shot and killed. Yep, that's the video. And, he was unarmed.
Because the thing did say unarmed black man. But
so he didn't have a weapon. So I don't know why he was going back to his car. Maybe he just wanted to die. I don't know.
I don't know. You never know what people. You never know. Because during that time, there was a lot of that going on, and maybe he wanted to be a victim. I don't know. I'm not saying that he is, but from what I have read, he was a pretty good guy. He was
no weapon. It says no weapon was recovered from Crutcher's body or vehicle.
Wow.
And this was in Tulsa, which is
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Tulsa is one of the locations that is on Live PD.
Oh, is that right?
That's where Sean Sticks Larson. For those of you that watch Live PD, that's one of the places that or that is where he's I think sergeant or something. So yeah, Is it justified? I mean, according to the court, yes. It sucks for that guy, but he should have freaking listened.
But just like I say, had he kept his hands in the had he kept his hands in the air and not put them on the vehicle, I think he would still be alive today. That's my opinion, because had he did that and she still shot him, she would have paid the price.
Well,
but I hate that he put his hands on that car.
Yeah, and another thing is, it's like, I was thinking about it. It's like, if you pull up on a scene, and I've dealt with this a couple times. If you pull up on a scene of something and somebody that's mentally disturbed, I'm talking about, maybe that can mean, it can mean autism, it could mean any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And those people that have autism, they don't handle confrontation, or they shut down, or they go crazy, one of the two, because it's a scared tactic. It's a fear of flight or fight or flight thing, and it's a flight for them.
Yeah.
And I think more law enforcement's not trained that way.
Yeah.
But what you were talking about was, so the other officer, the one that was prosecuted, came out of the house and shot at the vehicle and killed someone.
Yeah.
Well, there was a situation, and I want to talk about this before we move on. There was a situation here in South Carolina. It happened in Seneca, South Carolina, with a white male that I think was 16 or 17 years old. His name was Zachary Hammond, and this situation never made national news. He was white, keep in mind, but it never made national news. I believe his family tried to make national news, just to get the awareness out to the situation, to help them. Because this situation was, these police officers pulled up. They had got a call. Actually, no, sorry. They didn't get a call. I told you that earlier, Mr. Tutt. But they were supposedly in an ongoing undercover drug narcotics operation. And this kid was 16 or whatever he was. I don't think, personally, I think that was I at least think that's one of the discrepancies in the story, was that this was an undercover narcotics operation that went wrong.
Wow.
Because to the public, it sounds better if it was a undercover narcotics operation, whatever. But anyways, this kid, 16 or 17 years old, the cops pulled up on him. I think it was a Hardee's parking lot in Seneca, South Carolina. Now, I think the kid did have drugs in the car, probably weed, which is friggin', you can't even call it a drug operation if they're going after weed, but it should be called a medical, the best medical pharmaceutical operation. But anyways, so they pull up on this guy. I believe they go to his vehicle. I think he had his girlfriend or a girl in the vehicle at the time. They pull up on the vehicle. One of the officers make contact with him. They talk to him, whatever. And I believe, and it really doesn't matter for the story whether it was this or that, but I believe the officer went back to his vehicle. And when he went back to his vehicle, I think Mr. Hammond started his car or whatever and started to drive away. And when he did that, the officer came running up as fast as he could to the side of his car. That's a key point here, side. I would put that in bold if this was text right now. But yeah, so the officer came running up to the side of his car as Mr. Hammond was hauling ass off, because obviously he didn't want to get arrested for drugs or marijuana or whatever he had in his car. But at that point, the officer pulled his gun and shot him.
Wow.
And killed him.
Wow.
Now, and then the officer said, well, my life was in danger. He was going to run me over if I didn't shoot and kill him.
Oh.
But if you watch the if you watch the video, there was no chance of Mr. Hammond running over the officer unless the officer freaking jumped in front of his damn car.
Wow.
That's the only way that officer could have died right then, is if he would have jumped in front of the car.
Right.
And even then, he probably would have hit the side of the car.
Right.
This officer's life was nowhere close to in danger. He killed a teenager because of some bullshit drug operation.
No. Did he know that he was dealing with a teenager?
I don't know. I'm not sure at the time if they knew or not. I mean, if it was such an undercover drug operation, you would think they did. You know, they would obviously know whoever the hell they encountered. But anyway, so the case went to court. The law enforcement officers got cleared of all charges, and you know, I'll be honest. Watching the video, hearing the story, doing all that, if that was my kid, I would have probably went to jail the day that they acquitted the police officers.
Wow, it would have been tough, man.
And it's not just, and I'm not just bringing this shit up because he's white. I don't care if that kid was black.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's the same exact thing to me.
Yeah.
I go on the circumstances. I go on the reality of the facts of what happened. And that kid got murdered. And he did. I'll be the one to say that. And, you know, we're in South Carolina and this is, you know, a thing. But for those of you listening, man, look up in the story. Just look the story up. Check it out. I believe the family did do a civil lawsuit. And I don't know what happened with that. But I don't know how in the hell they wouldn't have won that.
Yeah. I think the only thing that really helped the officer get acquitted was for the simple fact of the whole purpose of them being there. It was a drug bust.
Supposedly, yeah.
You know, and I think that's probably the only thing that got him off. And due to the fact that the guy started driving off, you know, I don't know.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, yes, you need to obey the police officer's orders and all this shit, but when did we start, like, to the point where if you don't obey the orders necessarily and you just drive off, you get killed?
Right.
And then you get acquitted.
Right.
Because, I mean, the thing I will side with anybody that's been killed by police officers or any family or any of that shit is that every time it happens and an officer does get acquitted when it is wrong, that just tells other departments and other whatever that, hey, you know, they got acquitted for that, so we should be good, you know, on certain things.
Right.
And it's a scary thing. I'm completely pro police, but I'm not pro getting my ass killed because of, you know, I disobey your order. That is what I am. That's what I mean, it's one thing if I disobey your order and I go in my pocket for something or some shit like that to where it's, you know, I could maybe get killed. But if I'm running away, like if I'm completely running away and you shoot my ass and kill me, like that would be murder if it was a civilian that did that. If someone breaks into your house and then you get your gun and then they're running away from your house and you shoot them, you're going to prison for murder.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But to police officers, like in this situation with Mr. Hammond, it's not murder.
Right.
It's a double fucking standard and it's bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the issue. Just because you're law enforcement, yes, you are there to protect the laws and obey the laws, or not protect the laws, uphold the laws, you know, enforce the laws. But it doesn't give you the right to kill people for no fucking reason. And I believe the Zachary Hammond thing was for no reason. There were other circumstances of black kids that were the same thing that I believed. It wasn't just, and including the lady that killed the black guy. I mean, I understand a little bit because he put his hands there and, you know, she didn't have, but that was a policy thing, man. They should have had a less lethal option. They should have shot him with a taser right then. If that didn't work, then they could have went to the lethal at least.
Yeah.
But it should have never got to his door.
I agree. You know, they never should have allowed him to walk that far. You know, stop where you are. You know, get down on your knees, put your hands behind your back, and we'll search you. You know, to find out what's going on.
Well, and if there was a police officer from that department that was on our podcast right now, their response would probably be, "Well, you know what? We learn from that incident." Well, you know what? You can't learn from an incident after someone's dead. You have to learn in training. Trust me, police officers knew well enough whether to kill somebody or not after that. After all the shit that happened before that, come on, man. You knew you were in the spotlight already. But yeah, for the record, I am pro-police for the most part, but it all depends. I mean, it really all depends. It depends on the department, the sheriff, the organization. It depends on how that organization is ran. There is no across the board right answer to law enforcement. There's no across the board that all law enforcement's good. It's just not. That's not the case. There have been law enforcement officers that have murdered their wives. There have been law enforcement officers, actually, one of the higher domestic abuses is, and just statistically,
police
people that treat their spouses like shit are police officers.
And I have something to say about that too. I was in a lower level of law enforcement, and but I said this a couple of months ago. I don't know if I told you or not, but I think that probably the two most stressful jobs that a person can have is a police officer and a teacher, man.
Yeah,
I'm serious, seriously. And a police officer and a teacher. And I'm not defending police, police officers over these killings or anything, but stress. I think they do a lot what they do because a lot of them are stressed out, and people don't know what goes on behind the scenes in the police departments. Those guys, they get chewed out just like everybody else do. They get fired and written up just like everybody else do. And then
they have their bosses and they have all of the assholes to deal with.
Right. Because I was talking to one cop when I was living in Atlanta. He was like, his supervisor always riding by, looking, checking.
Whatever he's doing,
he's doing,
micromanaging.
And he was like, how can you police the police? Let me do my job. That. Then they go home. The kids may not be acting right. They might get into it with their wife. A lot plays. And I'm not defending
Especially
them.
if you have a bad home life, man. I mean, you go from dealing with bullshit all day to dealing with bullshit at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, no, we're definitely not defending that. But it's just like it's a thing, man. I mean, but then there again, it's the process to be a police officer is a nightmare. Yeah. I mean, as far as actually getting through everything, doing all the shit,
they have to take psychological tests.
Yeah. You got to do everything.
It's a lot, man. And 12, 16-week academies.
And they're still crazy-ass police officers. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like no matter what, these psychological... That goes back to the gun thing. I was like, well, we need to give them psychological evaluation. That shit don't work. I mean, honestly, like some of the craziest people would probably pass psychological evaluations with the most flying colors.
They know how.
Exactly.
They know how.
I mean, those people would pass psychological evaluations like it was a damn 2 + 2 question.
It's just like a polygraph test, a lie detector test.
A lot of them can pass that shit too.
Hey, if you know what you're doing, you can pass it. You can pass it.
It's true. And unfortunately, like I said, we got to live in the country we live in now. And not unfortunately, sorry. Fortunately, we get to live in the country that we live in now. But unfortunately, there are some bad police officers. But if you look at it in a whole, if you look at the whole system in comparison to other countries, we're doing pretty well. But that doesn't mean that we can't be better. And it doesn't mean that there isn't a problem. Just because it's one of those things, just because there are other places worse doesn't mean, it's just the same thing as like if you are suffering from a disease, but someone else has a disease that's worse than you.
Yeah. Exactly.
That doesn't mean your disease isn't important and you're not dealing with it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. It's the same thing here. It's like we do have a disease in a lot of aspects in this country. I mean, some countries like which I mean Afghanistan is better now, more so as far as at least and not as much ISIS, but it's like you look at Afghanistan 5-10 years ago, that Afghanistan you would consider cancer, and you would consider maybe America's problems of bladder infection.
Right.
But it's still a fucking problem.
It's still a problem if it gets out of hand,
And it could get to cancer. That's the thing. Yeah. It could lead, and it's close. It's close.
Yeah.
Our political climate right now, basically America is smoking cigarettes right now is what's happening. I mean, like if we're talking about this shit, we're smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh my goodness.
And we're just hoping that we don't get cancer, but that shit's probably coming.
Hey, for the way it's looking, we're going to be smoking 5 soon.
Yeah, exactly. And so at some point in time, something's going to break. And when that shit breaks, when there's so much cigarettes being inhaled of chemical bullshit, it's like at some point in time there's gonna be cancer.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
And in certain cases there's not cancer. There's people that lived to 90 years old and smoking. But that doesn't happen very often. So what is America's chances right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's scary shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. But that's kind of our thing on the police with that situation. But
we need your feedback. Let us know what you're thinking, guys.
And leading up to our next topic, it's survival. do you want me to tell you why I want to talk about survival? And this is kind of funny, but we were just talking a lot about kind of America smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day right now, and they might be inevitably getting cancer. And actually, one of your topics you want to talk about could actually tie into this topic.
Talking about the earthquake.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, they could tie into this topic.
There has been a total of 144 earthquakes over a 7-day period, and they are fearing that there's going to be the big mega quake,
the big event,
which could kill millions, 10, 20 million people,
which would not be good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about that. And so this survival thing, let's talk about it. The reason I want to talk about survival, I love survival stuff. I love any show that has to do with survival. I love going in the woods and camping. I love the idea of surviving on nothing. I mean, I like the idea of that shit. I like the idea of going out and living the way that people lived before there was technology, before there was civilization. I feel like America and the world, not just America, but the world is so dependent on technology. It's so dependent on grocery stores and gas and, everything you have to do to live, jobs and all this shit, that when something does finally break out, like, oh my God. I mean, look, you see what happens when a cop kills a black person, and it's not even, black. And I got to say black person because shit like that don't happen when a cop kills a white person. So I can't say that. I'm not just saying it because it's a black person. I'm saying it because it's the crazy shit that
media
happens.
Frenzy.
It is
that happens.
But when a cop kills a black person, you've seen what happens with that, man. There's riots. There's fucking people burning down towns, and if you're there in white, you better not be. Like, you better fucking time travel somewhere. But yeah, it's scary because in today's world, we're gonna have to start thinking about survival possibly. And there was this show on TV called Doomsday Preppers, which I'm sure some of you know and some of you don't, but Doomsday Preppers was a huge show. It was a huge success, and I don't know where the hell it went, which is weird. But Doomsday Preppers was a huge show, and it was very popular in America for a reason. There are many people. I got something in my throat. Sorry. There are many people out there that believe that at some point in time we're going to need that. We're going to need. And look, and you know what the funny thing about this is people out there call these doomsday preppers crazy. And let me get this point. They call them crazy and psychotic and extremist. A lot of times they're extremist conservatives, they'll call them. They're just psycho. But yet then you go and there is a underground city that the government has made. And you're going to call these people fucking crazy?
But see, while we have to go to the woods and get insect bites and snake bites, they're going to be in these underground cities living in luxury. I've seen some of the pictures in these. They got state-of-the-art furniture and everything that you can name.
Grocery stores.
Oh, they've got it, man.
They even have underground farms and gardens and shit. I mean, seriously.
Damn greenhouse, good man.
But no, I mean, but you're right. I mean, would the government politicians be concerned about survival if something crazy happens? No, because they go to their little underground city.
Right, they'll be all right. And
the elitist. It's not just the government. It's the elitist.
Right, exactly.
And trust me, I have news for you guys. The elitists in this country are more in control of this country than the government.
That is correct. There's a higher power.
There is.
There is.
And we're not talking about God. We're talking about executives such as
the Rothschilds and
Apple.
Rockefellers, and all those good people.
Oh yeah. And they have control of both parties.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. You have to look at it this way. It's two wings, but it's on one bird. So that one bird is being controlled.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
That is a good point. You have to look at it that way. And another thing, what was that show you said that used to come on that no longer comes on?
You're talking
Doomsday
about
Preppers.
You're talking about Tim Allen's show?
No, Doomsday.
Oh, Doomsday Preppers. Yeah.
back in the late 90s or early 2000 era, there were some more shows. There was several shows like that on, man.
There was a ton, yeah.
Dude, they've been preparing us.
They got rid of that shit though.
Yeah, they've been preparing us mentally for a long time. And I think that one show I'm talking about is I think it was called Survivor Series or something like that, where they grouped up into teams.
Oh, you're probably talking about Survivor.
Survivor, yeah.
Yeah.
That one. It was a few more, but come to think about it, man, they've been mentally prepping us for a very long time. We've just ignored the signs.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is like why I want to talk about survival. In either circumstance, in midterms, if the Democrats get elected, what happens then? Because honestly, man, they're gonna when Democrats finally do get back in power, when they do, man, they're gonna go extreme. They are. They're not. It's not just gonna be regular old Democrats. It's gonna be if for somehow they can get control of the government, man, they're gonna go insane.
Let me
They are.
Let me tell you.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be bad.
Let me tell you what President Trump says. Two things President Trump
Which
said.
I didn't agree with this, which is weird.
It's I know. And we're gonna make that point too.
Mm-hmm.
Two things President Trump said. He said, "If I am impeached," he said this Monday, and I think he said the other one that I'm about to bring up. He said it a couple weeks prior to this. He said the first one. He said, "If I am impeached, the whole country is going broke." He said, "We're gonna be broke."
Yeah.
And the other one, he said, "If I am impeached, there will be violence," which is, I guess he was meaning riots. There's going to be riots. So those two things right there, President Trump just letting us know there's going to be violence and everybody's going to be broke. I don't know if he was saying that just...
Probably true, though.
I don't know if he was saying that just to...
Except for one part.
Huh?
No, I said that's probably true. Everybody probably will be broke.
I don't know if he was saying that to put fear in people so
welfare,
that they would vote for him or...
Because when Democrats go back in office, they're going to, man, their budget for welfare will be like freaking $28 billion.
Oh, God, yes, it will. And I know that people that are on these government assisted programs are hoping and praying that this man is out of office.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't want that. They don't want his ass in there. That's 100% true. But you're right as far as like, but what I don't agree with that when Trump says if he doesn't get reelected, that there'll be riots. I don't believe that because, I mean, typically conservatives, people that follow Trump, people that love Trump and are on his, on his side, they don't riot. We're not the people that just go and burn shit down.
Hey,
we just don't do it.
Did you watch his campaign trail?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it wasn't conservatives. That's the thing. It was not conservatives that were doing crazy shit. It was the Democrats that were coming to the conservative rallies.
Okay.
That were just fighting and doing all this crazy
shit.
I
lost interest in it. I was like, what the hell is this, man? Is this WWE or is this a campaign?
Well, but if you go to and listen to any of the Democratic campaign parties or speeches, you don't see conservatives going over there just beating the shit out of people. It just don't happen.
Right.
You don't see any problems at the Democratic thing because
that's
conservatives don't go there.
That's why they call them conservatives. They're conservative.
Yeah, and liberals should be called psychos. I'm
a little bit of both.
I don't think you have a liberal bone in your damn body. I think you fight it. You want to, but I don't believe it.
I'm a little liberal. I mean, I grew up liberal.
What is the most liberal thing about you?
Hell, I don't know it.
I mean, honestly, let's just get real. I
don't know it. Depends on what do you consider liberal.
Well, I have never seen anything really that liberal about you.
Really?
No.
Well, the older you get, the more mature you get, and the more you change. Man, I'm never gonna be fully conservative. I mean,
there are things that you've told me that if it was the average person. Liberal. If it was the average liberal telling me that shit, they're gonna have about 29 million different circumstances of it.
Right.
But I'm talking about racism things that you've told me that you've encountered. I believe. I don't believe you were just saying that shit because you're black or because because of any of that. I believe that they happened, and I believe they happened because of maybe some of those circumstances you were in. I've kind of seen it for myself,
Right.
even not being black, but just seeing it from the other side of it.
Right.
So I can't say that you would have a liberal bone about that.
Right.
Like I said, I was just curious because I've never actually seen a liberal side of you at all,
Really?
like period whatsoever, not 1%.
That's awesome.
Because you're a normal person.
I mean,
I'm
a
just saying.
lot of people. It just depends on what type of person you are and how you handle situations. When I'm encountered with racism, I'm not gonna let it stop me from doing whatever I have to do. Life goes on. I mean, they'll be judged for it, but I'm not here to judge anybody. Just move on.
Do you feel like that your life is hindered because of white people today? Do you feel like that you can't go out and be somebody that you want to be because of whites?
That's hard to say, man, because I've been held back by black people and white people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's not a race thing. It's just
I've been held back by
thing.
Right. If I can't say I've been held back because of white people hating me because of who I am or what I am. Same hate has been for black. I've been hated by black people just as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been hated by a lot of white people too.
Yeah,
I've actually probably been hated by more white people than blacks by far.
Probably me too. Probably.
What, blacks and whites?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's weird. I don't know. It's a strange situation. But my point is, what I wanted to talk about though was, the survival thing, guys. If Trump doesn't get elected in 2020, and this is my statement of why I disagree with Trump a little bit on this. If Trump doesn't get elected, you don't have anything to worry about for a little while. I'm not talking about right after.
If he gets reelected?
No, if he doesn't get reelected, you don't have much to worry about for a little while because it's not like conservatives are going to go out there and burn towns down or any of that crazy shit. You would have to worry about that in the long run. Not long run, but like 2 years down the road when they completely especially if they get control of the government on top of having a Democratic president, man, we are fucked. Like we are. Like we're not going to be allowed to be Christians. We're not going to be allowed to have religions, or they're gonna clump in conservatives with Christians. So they're gonna say, okay, well, Christians they're not allowed to have a religion anymore. So screw them because they're conservatives, and we don't believe that's the right thing to do. And we're gonna take out anything that has to do with God from from schools or anything like that. We're gonna get rid of everyone's guns because we feel like that's the best thing to do, even though we're complete dumbasses and we don't realize that criminals are always gonna have guns. If all of that shit happens, and that could very easily happen, man, I promise you, when it lines up that there's a Democratic president and there's a Democratic government, we're fucked. Like I'm telling you right now, this country is done, and that is a not so long term thing. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen before you know it. Now, where you have to worry about the scary shit in the sooner than later is if the Republicans do get if Trump gets elected in 2020, that's when you're going to have to worry about some craziness. Because the Democrats losing again in 2020 against Trump, if that happens, it's going to be crazy.
Is that civil war I've been talking about in America?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it will be, but it'll be crazy. And the same thing goes if in midterms mostly Democrats win somehow, or whatever the case is. Guys, and I don't know what we got to do to get conservatives on. I mean, look, and it's not like I said, this is not a party thing. I'm telling you right now that in midterms we got to get out there, man. I mean, we have to get out there for conservatives because you don't want Democrats to win and completely breaking down what we have right now, because that's what's going to happen.
Wow.
Democrats win, Trump's probably gone.
Wow.
And it'll fall apart, man. This whole damn country will.
If Trump, if Trump can hold on and win these midterm elections, there's one thing, and we was talking about this the other night. I was telling your wife Sherry I was telling her that and you that there was at least one or two things that can make people love Trump or hate Trump. One of the things before we close out, one of the things that I ran across on the on YouTube today was Trump is trying to take back control of the Federal Reserves. And if anybody don't know what the Federal Reserves is, it's just a big bank owned by the world bankers.
Yep.
And what it does is
it's what basically holds our money, or it's what puts value on our money. Yeah.
Right, and it has nothing to do with the U.S. government, but they charge interest. They charge the United States government to print the money, and on top of that, they charge the United States government interest. So there's billions and billions of dollars that's going out of the economy to the Federal Reserves. And I think that's what got John F. Kennedy assassinated, is that he tried to do away with those guys. And for a while, for a couple of months, they started printing their own money under Kennedy until the assassination. Well, a lot of people didn't know that. And then when Lyndon B. Johnson took over, he redid whatever JFK, put in place.
Yeah.
But I think if Trump can take control of the Federal Reserves and put that money back into the United States economy, it's gonna do wonders. It's gonna do wonders for the economy and for the United States. But
Agreed.
Whether that happens or not, I don't know.
But Nick, how important do you think it is for people out there listening, people out there that are? I mean, I promise you, man. How important do you think it is for people to know how to survive in the woods?
Very important
in 2018.
Very important, because just like you were saying the other night, if about the Space Force, if Russia and China take out our satellites, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it don't have to be a civil war.
No.
It can be our satellites are done.
Yeah.
Our internet's done.
Yeah, we have no electricity, no water, no power. What are we going to do? We can't stay in the house.
It's like the same thing. It's like basically it's pretty much like Russia giving us Y2K.
Right.
You remember when Y2K was supposed to happen?
Yeah, that was supposed to happen. Yeah.
The supposedly the the infrastructure of the internet and the technology was supposed to go down.
Yeah.
Everybody, my mom is one of those people that literally stockpiled on beans and rice and water.
That was smart. That was smart.
She did.
That was smart.
But guys, be conscious of the fact that shit can happen, and be conscious of the fact that anything can happen in this world. And I'm not saying that the world has not been screwed up before. It has, but if you really think about this, anytime the world has been really screwed up, there has always been a tipping point. There has always been something that has went majorly wrong, or something that has happened in a huge way to tip the scales, whether it be a massive war, whether it be a slaughter of a generation, or whatever the case is. But there's always something that has to tip. It has to break at some point in time. You can't put so much. Basically, America right now is a pretty thick sheet of glass. But at the same time, we just keep piling on all this weight on top of this thick sheet of glass, and then it's bending and bending and bending and bending, and eventually that thick sheet of glass is going to break. And when it does, it's going to be a violent break.
Yes.
Anything that has so much pressure on it and it finally breaks, it's going to be violent.
Yes.
And when that does happen, you better be prepared. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not a conspiracy person. Well, I kind of am. I mean, I've got my own conspiracies, but there's a lot of shit Alex Jones said that everyone's like, "Oh, that's a conspiracy." The child sex ring, that kind of sounds like Alex Jones. The child sex ring, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Alex Jones is crazy," and then he came out, it was true.
Yeah,
it's fucking true.
Yeah.
So all this stuff that I'm telling you now, you may some of you may be like, "Oh, that's bullshit." That will never happen. And then one day you're like, "Shit, it is happening," and we're not prepared.
And we're not prepared because one thing about the countries over in the Middle East, like Russia and China and all those other countries, they are as far as media wise, they are preparing their people for World War III. They put it all in the media. I mean, they're letting their people know that this war is about to happen. But the thing about the United States media, they're not preparing us for it. They hardly talk about it.
They're the opposite.
Matter of fact, when I was in New York City, it was on the news, or I saw it on the internet. Something. There was a Russian warship 30 miles off of the coast of Delaware or Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just spying on everything. You know, everything that we do. I think they were spying
Russia.
on,
You said.
Yeah.
So it had to have been wherever the international waters were, which
it was internet. I'm like 30 miles. Wouldn't that still be?
Well, that might be. I don't know.
Yeah, that's international. That's what I found out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, how could they be there and we not do anything about it? It's international waters. Now, whether that ship is still there or not, I don't know because the media won't tell us anything.
Well, it's kind of the same thing as if there's a video on YouTube where some of our surveillance planes were going towards. They were flying right outside of some Japanese islands, I think it was. And the Japanese warships that you could see from this video that was shot from the plane, of the American plane, you could look down and you could see the warships, and then the Japanese people that could, I guess whoever the hell they got that could speak a little bit of English, they were like, please leave our territory now.
Wow.
Leave the territory.
Wow.
Get out. This is your final warning.
Wow.
And there's always really close encounters with different countries.
Oh, yeah.
But
China is in the South China Sea right now.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Yep.
It's South China Sea.
South China Sea. They have built
it's China.
military bunkers over there in that sea.
So not Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where they are. I'm telling you, they are preparing their people. I mean,
they are. Well, they're building islands out there.
Right.
I don't know if you know that.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yeah. That's what I meant to say. They got islands out there, man. I mean.
Yeah, and so
they are preparing their people, man.
And some of those islands they're building now. They actually have military bases on them,
right?
And
exactly.
like they're just building this shit. They're doing the same thing Dubai did. Dubai was made from sand that they pumped in or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
That's some scary shit. I mean, that's not as scary. But what I am telling you is, guys, you better start watching some survival videos. And I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm not saying it's going to happen next week, but I'm telling you we're coming up on some shit that may very well happen.
Yeah.
And just be prepared. I don't give a shit who you are. And if you're a liberal and you're like, you know what? Screw this dude. I don't give a shit what he's saying. He's conservative. I don't he's just he's a redneck, man. We don't need to listen to him.
Let me ask you this. What reason, just like in World War II, when Pearl Harbor was bombed.
Yeah.
From what we were taught is that radar was new.
It was back then.
And the guys that was monitoring the radar saw, the planes
but they
coming.
didn't know what it was or something. Or I think it was too late, maybe.
The commander told them it might be birds. Just ignore it. Don't worry about it. But conspiracy says that, they knew about it and they were just looking for a reason to start World War II, and
they left themselves open, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
What reason do you think we need to start this World War III? Or
I don't
not
know.
us, but what would be the reason you think?
Well, the only reason I can think of is, in the Bible it says that there will be wars among countries, and there will be feast and famine. There will be this and that,
wars and rumors of wars.
Yeah, wars and rumors of wars. And that all also kind of ties into the one world government. Maybe that would be the ultimate end to that war.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be out of here by then. We'll have to.
But at some point in time, if there's a one world government, there would have to at some point in time be a leader of that.
Well,
I've been hearing, think it's the Antichrist. I mean, if you read the Bible, I don't think that's what it would be, but maybe
you're gonna have the unholy trinity. You're gonna have the world leader, the Antichrist, and who's the other one? It's the world leader, the Antichrist, and the false prophet.
Yeah, false prophet.
False prophet. They're saying that world leader.
Prophet.
They saying that world leader is gonna be yours truly. Barack Obama.
Oh yeah, they have said that. Yeah, they have said that. Which I don't know, man. He can't even get control of Chicago. How in the hell is he going to get control of a world?
Look here, and now they're saying that if Trump is impeached, Obama's going to come back.
Mbama. Mbama.
Obama's coming back. That's what they're saying.
But that's not possible. I mean, unless the only time. Okay, I don't know how this applies to bringing a president back, but what I do know is that a president can stay even after 8 years if there is an active war or some kind of crazy national shit. But I don't know. I don't know if that would apply for.
Dude, if this system is done away with, they could do whatever they want to do.
I mean, they could establish a new constitution.
Right. Just like I told you a year ago, I said it was somewhere. Somebody said that it was somewhere on the government's website that the U.S. Constitution is done away with. They've done away with it.
It's not surprising. Well, hell, and they're trying every day.
I'm serious. They say it's already been done away with. That's why,
Well, there are certain situations, and like I said, God, it sounds like I'm against police. I'm not. But what I'm saying is there are certain situations that, even with police that you're like, hey, I'm going to evoke my Second Amendment or my First Amendment, or I'm going to evoke my Fifth, or whatever it is. And the cops are like, whatever, you can do whatever the hell you want to, but this is what's happening.
Right, because they probably know. I mean,
one
thing you got to realize: a police officer is a government official. They work for the government. They belong to the government. That's government property. So
And it's funny, like even with the weed thing, it's like states are legalizing it, but at any time, government could come in and just screw everybody. I think that's amazing. And wouldn't that be some shit when it happens? And I hope it doesn't happen.
You better enjoy it while you can.
I think marijuana is one of the best drugs on the market. I think it's the safest drug on the market. And I think it cures a lot of people of a lot of ailments. Yeah. I know it does. It's not. Yeah. It's not that I think. I know it does. I don't know what the government's thing is against marijuana so much, but
I think it's. Let me say this. I think that people get high off of it, and the difference between street marijuana and medical marijuana is that the substance that gets you high is taken out of medical marijuana.
Yeah,
that's what
THC.
Somebody told me. So
But also, if you ask actual scientists, I'm not talking about anybody, but if you ask scientists of what is the most effective CBD, which is the medical part of marijuana, they say CBD. THC is a psychoactive part. CBD is the medical part of what actually helps you. But scientists have proven that without THC, CBD is not as effective.
Wow.
THC is almost a inhibitor. It is it is something that pushes it through your body. It does what it needs to do, where it needs to do it. And even if you go look up, CBD is legal in all states. But the THC, everyone says don't buy the CBD without the THC. And it's not just that. There are certain CBDs. There's some CBDs out there. So if you do go buy CBD, there's a lot of people that have really thought or really changed their lives on it with COPD or asthma. Just taking a drop of CBD oil under the tongue, they have completely cured their anxiety attacks. And I'm one of those people that have had anxiety. And Mr. Tutt knows, and we've known each other a long time. But I've had anxiety. I've had issues as far as just anxiety issues, and at one point in time in my life, I was on medicine for it that, made me someone I'm not. Like, I mean, not bad, but it's like I didn't even know who the hell I was anymore.
Wow.
I mean, it's like it changes your chemicals in your mind, the medicine they give you, that you just don't even know who the hell you are anymore.
Wow.
And I still think that we don't know today what causes cancers. We don't know what causes all these crazy diseases we get nowadays.
Well, there's
so much we
put
in our body. Yeah, and flu shot, that's one of the reasons I don't take flu shot. I don't do the flu shot.
Wow.
But my point is that, with the weed thing, it's like, there are some CBDs out there that are bullshit and they're fake and they're this and that.
Yeah.
And there's some that can mess you up. You got to make sure you're getting it from a reputable dealer or a reputable place.
Yeah.
And there's some that try to skimp on the CBD. They try to put a little amount and then try to make the maximum amount of money. Anytime anything new comes out, someone's going to take advantage.
Right.
It's just going to happen. So
in other words, you just said just keep your local weed man.
keep your local weed man. Yeah,
I'm just joking.
in your legal states, just keep your weed man. But no, I mean it's true though. Be careful. But even nowadays, man, it's like shit. People fentanyl getting in marijuana. I mean, killing people.
Yeah.
Like, why would you put fentanyl in weed?
Yeah.
Like, why would you? Because
synthetic.
Synthetic marijuana will kill you. It'll mess you up.
I've seen. When I was in law enforcement, the branch that I was in, I've seen young kids, 18, 19 years old, come in. Dude, on synthetic marijuana, lose their freaking minds, yo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, my God.
How long does that shit last usually?
What?
A while, I think. The synthetic marijuana. I think the effects last a little while, like 2 hours, though.
No, I mean,
like full effect.
It really messed up their mind.
It
might wear off, but after it wears off, you're still in that condition.
Yeah.
It's permanent.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
No, I do. But the only reason they came out with synthetic is because it was a substance that wasn't illegal, so they did it, and now I think it's illegal in a lot of places, but they're still out there.
I wouldn't smoke.
Now they, instead of calling it legal weed, they call it synthetic now, which was whatever. One of these days we're gonna find out vaping kills us. I don't vape, but
I hope not, because I need it.
I don't vape, but we're going to find that out. But, kind of leading into that, and this is one of the last things I want to kind of touch on is, this Democratic rep has warned these ICE agents that when the table turns, and really what he's saying is when the midterms come is what he's thinking or hoping.
Yeah.
When the tables turn, that what it actually says, his actual quote is, if you are a U.S. government official and you are deporting Americans, he calls it Americans, whether illegal or not, they're Americans in this guy's mind.
Hold on, run that by me one more time.
It says, if you are a U.S. government official and you are deporting Americans, be warned.
Wow.
So what he's basically saying is maybe a kid, what he's saying is someone that, maybe they were 8 years old or 6 years old and they were brought into America by their illegal parents and they're technically illegal, and you're deporting them is what he's really saying. Then it basically says, be warned. Arizona Democratic Rep Ruben Gallego tweeted Thursday, when the worm turns, you will not be safe because you were just following orders.
Wow.
Meaning ICE agents. So the actual title is, he warns immigration officers following illegal Trump orders that you will not be safe when the world turns into hell, is basically what he's saying.
Wow.
And the story kind of goes on to say a Democratic lawmaker issued a startling warning to government officials involved in illegal deportations that you will not be safe from future punishment when Donald Trump is no longer president. Because we will kill you.
But one key word that you said that we were talking about earlier, he said, when the world. What did he say?
No, it says when the worm turns, or...
You said something about hell, when the world...
Well, no, I just made that up. But,
okay. I'm about to say it.
I'm saying when the worm turns, he says. It says, if you are a U.S. government official, you are in deported Americans to be warned. When the worm turns, you will not be safe because you were just following orders. You do not have to take part in illegal acts ordered by the president's administration. And it says Gallego's comments go beyond those of other Democrats, even those who've called for confronting Trump administration officials in public over immigration policies. So basically, this Democrat is kind of, in some ways, he's talking for the Democratic Party. And it's in more than one way. He's saying when the worm turns, when we get control again, everybody that has anything to do with conservative values, beliefs, or anything else, you're done. And even though he's saying it on behalf of these ICE agents, these immigration officers that are doing their job, they're doing their job to protect our country, to keep illegals out of the country and deporting them. The same thing Obama did. And actually, there's a video on Obama talking what he said about illegal immigration. So Obama did it, but yet Trump, everything he's doing is illegal. What do you think?
Right. Well, you want to know what I think?
Yeah.
I think that the Democrats have already started celebrating that Trump is going to get impeached. They probably already know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way: they probably already know that they're going to win, and if they win, they know that they're going to impeach him.
And guys, I don't know if you guys will hear this. I just want to see. I want to see if you can hear it. And just because I just want you to listen to this. Let's see if you can hear it.
I believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president. The same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions. First, we'll build on our progress at the border with additional resources for our law enforcement personnel so that they can stem the flow of illegal crossings and speed the return of those who do cross over. Second, I'll make it easier and faster for high-skilled immigrants, graduates, and entrepreneurs to stay and contribute to our economy, as so many business leaders have proposed. Third, we'll take steps to deal responsibly with the millions of undocumented immigrants who already live in our country. I want to say more about this third issue because it generates the most passion and controversy. Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous.
That's
weird.
weird.
Why over the past 6 years, deportations
Because I swear
of
that
criminals are up 80%.
you've called Trump out on
That's
this
why we're
shit
going
so
to
many
keep focusing
times.
enforcement resources on actual threats to our security.
That's weird.
Felons.
I can't believe
not
he's saying
families.
this.
Criminals.
Criminals.
Not children.
Oh, he called Mexicans criminals.
Gang members.
Oh,
Not
gang
a mom
members.
who's
He called them
working hard
gang
to
members
provide for her
too.
kids. We'll prioritize.
Why did nobody
just like
riot
law
over this?
enforcement does every day. But even as we focus on deporting criminals, the fact is millions of immigrants in every state, of every race and nationality, still live here illegally.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, tracking down, rounding up, and deporting millions of people isn't realistic.
Millions. That's why you got
Anyone
to
who suggests otherwise
stop it at
isn't
the
being
border.
straight with you.
But anyways, my point is, do you hear that shit? I mean, what he exactly just said is why they say Trump is racist.
Why?
But based on what Obama just said, Trump has said the same thing. He even just talked about criminals as illegal immigrants. He talked about the exact same things that Trump has talked about, and that's why they have called him a racist. That's why they've called and said that he hates Mexicans. So why the hell can Obama do it, but Trump can't? And literally, you just heard it. He just said the exact same things that Trump is behind, but the difference is Trump is actually doing something about it. Obama didn't do shit about it. Nothing.
Well, one thing that he did say that I will point out is that he said rounding up millions of illegal immigrants. What did he say? Is it impossible or not realistic? It's not realistic. There's no way you can get them all.
No, there's not, but you got to do something to prevent millions of more illegals in the country.
Right.
And which is what Trump is doing.
Right.
But I will say Trump is also going about trying to figure out how to get millions out.
Well, see, that's what Obama was just saying. You know, that's
he thinks it's not possible.
Right.
So he gave up on it. Trump
it's
says
probably going to cost too much money.
Well, but if you look at,
he got to build that wall.
But look at how much money the illegals are costing America being here. They are.
America is broke, bro. They do not have the money
and you want me
to
to tell
do
you,
this stuff.
It goes beyond just costing America money because they're here. It goes to the point of the fact that let's just be honest. Illegal immigrants work for way less money, and there's
That's
a lot of companies that will hire illegal immigrants based on giving these illegal immigrants given these BS
Right. These
whatever
jobs that nobody else
Well,
are,
but what
are
I'm-
willing to take.
Well, but even so, even besides that, there are plenty of Americans that can do these jobs, but employers would rather not hire those people because they got to pay Americans more than they do illegal immigrants.
Right.
So we're losing out on jobs. We're losing
Right.
out on care that we're having to provide, especially now because of all these sanctuary damn cities. We're not against Mexicans. We're not against blacks. We're not against Islamic people. We're against asshole and crazy people. We're against people that want to harm our fellow Americans. And
But see, that's just that's just the thing. As long as I've been in the workforce, or as long as I've been alive, Mexican people, the Mexicans are not threats to anybody. I mean, I've always known those people to work hard.
in a whole, no.
I've always known them to work hard. All they want to do is work hard, support their family, send money back to their family in Mexico.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
come
the
over
one
here
thing
and
they do. Yeah,
make better lives for themselves. I'm not really against that.
I'm not against it
they
either,
work,
but
they work very hard.
just
but,
do it legally.
I mean, whether they do it legally or not, they're not bothering me. So I mean, now at the same time, if they were coming over here bombing up the place,
But they
like-
are in some ways.
how?
Not bombing up the places, but they're getting away with shit. They're not in the system. They're not doing the same things. They're getting government assistance, but not paying anything back to the government. They're
Well, see,
they're
that's
doing
not
all
their
these things.
that's not their problem.
Yeah,
That's the government is allowing that stuff to happen, bro.
but there's
I
a
mean,
point where
if an illegal immigrant,
if somebody comes in your house where you live right now, they come in your house and they just sit up on your couch, they go in your kitchen, eat all your damn food.
Oh man, that's totally
it's the
different.
exact
That's
same
totally
thing.
different.
No,
That's
it
totally
isn't.
different.
It's the exact
Okay,
same thing.
If a illegal immigrant, so-called Mexican, go to the unemployment office or wherever they have to go to get food stamps or government assistance, and let's just say they are undocumented, which means they're not on record, and they still get the assistance.
Which they're illegal.
Whose fault is that? Is it?
It's their fault.
No. Whose fault?
Theirs.
The Mexican?
If they're undocumented?
No,
Yeah.
no. If they still get the assistance.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, if they
still get the assistance, I don't know.
if they are giving them the assistance, don't blame the Mexicans for that. I mean,
Well, it's like when near where you're at. There are buses of Mexicans there. What the hell's up with that?
dude, you know what? The only time I see those people are when I pass by there. They don't come
Yeah.
in my neighborhood.
No, but it's like there's a couple of little Mexican stores,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's literally coach buses that are
Right.
that are bringing these Mexicans here
right
from wherever.
right.
And I'm guessing border or
Well,
I mean, it
different-
has to be.
different-
There's a
different
nice
parts
ass
of the-
coaches bus,
Different parts
but
of the country.
but they're dispersing them.
right,
Is what they're doing.
right. Well,
It's the same thing in the ghettos, man, where they're shutting down all the hoods.
right.
They're shutting down the hoods and they're dispersing the people because they believe that complete. It's the same thing as if you went to a trailer park. It was like, all right, we're taking out all the trailer park people that are poor. We're going to get rid of them because that's where problems are. Same thing with ghettos and same thing with all that shit. But it's weird because like of all those Mexicans that were there, and they were on those buses, I was like, damn, like where the hell are these? And it's every day.
Yeah.
Every day there's a new bus. With different, I mean, not to sound racist. I don't give a shit. I'm not politically correct. With more Mexicans.
Yeah.
So it's a weird. I mean, my point is though, it is the same thing as someone coming in your house.
No.
because it's our country.
That's to
It's
me.
our
That's,
country.
that's totally different.
It isn't though.
That's totally
it is our
different.
country.
That's totally
because
different.
those same people that are coming to your country illegally can also come into your house illegally. So, I mean, and they can.
Americans are doing that.
Yeah, they are, but what I'm saying is, no, Americans are held accountable.
So you're saying Mexicans not?
No,
I'm talking about for breaking into your house and robbing your house,
nope.
stealing. So if a
I
Mexican,
mean, they are, but they'll eventually get deported.
nah, I mean that's breaking the law. And, you know, if
It is breaking the law, but they get deported. They don't get.
if they break the law, they're not just going to get deported.
Yeah, they do.
Oh man,
A lot of them do, man.
If they get deported, they're going to go to jail in there.
How many Mexicans do you think breaks the law every day? A lot.
I'm sure a lot.
There's
of
a shit ton.
I'm sure.
And how many of those do you think? And I'm not saying Mexicans break the law and they're the only ones. No, all people break the law, and probably more white people break the law because we're whatever. But my point is, how many Mexicans break the law, and then how many of those are illegal? And the reality of the process of Mexicans breaking laws is eventually ends in deportation.
Right.
Which in turn nothing happens, and guess what? Then it's like, oh, they're cleared slate, and then now they're back in the country.
Right.
My point is, it is like your house because of you want to secure your house. You want to make sure the people inside of your house are safe. The same way that if you're a president or you're a government, your job is to make sure that the people inside of your house, which is America, is safe. Same thing with police officers inside of your city. Your city is your house. You want to make sure the people inside of your house, aka the city, is safe. You're a sheriff's officer. You want to make sure that the people inside of your county is safe. It goes from a small thing such as why you would lock your door in your bedroom, to why you would lock your door in your house, to why you have sheriff's officers, city officers, state law enforcement, national law enforcement, and why you have borders.
But
it's the same thing. But the weird thing is, there's more danger in the larger scale, which is protecting people from your country, sometimes than there is protecting people from your bedroom.
But at the end of the day, if I were, a leader, I would be more concerned about getting rid of the people that are trying to kill everybody and bomb this place up than the people that are coming over here and trying to work and make their lives better.
No, look, I'm not against people.
At the end of the day, that's my view of it. I'm
not against people making their lives better. I mean, I don't have a problem with Mexicans at all, man. I mean, I know some really kick-ass Mexican people. I know some really kick-ass black people, and I don't really know a lot of Islamic people, but I don't think. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of cool-ass black people, cool-ass Mexicans, and I know Mexicans that are some of the coolest, just some of the most down-to-earth people, and honestly, Mexicans probably are one of the hardest working races there is. You
call them Migo, they'll do anything for you, bro.
No, but they're cool. I mean, they're always so nice, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And there are the bad ones. There are, and they're just like they're the bad white people and the bad black people.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you have to be legal to come in the country. It's not a race thing. It is a law thing. It is a way to protect our country. It is a way to make sure that our Americans that worked their ass off and fought and died for this country and our freedom, that they remain free, and that they remain Americans, and that it's not just that if you want to go over a wall, or not a wall, but under a fence hole or some shit like that, you're automatically American. And if something happens, you want to commit murders and crimes or any of the other shit, you're not really held that accountable because no one really even knows who the hell you are. That's the problem. And especially assistance, jobs, all that shit. It plays a major. It's like a cancer in America. And I go back to the Mexicans that are here. Well, I'm not even gonna say Mexicans, but the Americans that are here from a Mexico country, from where they were born, that came here legally and went through the process. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to.
I think. Let me ask you this. Out of all the people
yeah,
how many people do you know would work on a strawberry farm picking peaches or picking oranges, or in how hot it gets in the South in the middle of the summertime, or doing some type of hard labor construction work that nobody else wants to do. I think if people realized how many people no longer wants to do that type of work, and there's people coming into the country that are doing that work, they wouldn't be as critical of those people.
No, you know what? I'll tell you would be a good plan is one of the things I feel like is a problem with people that go to prison or people that are felons is that once you're a felon, you're done. In society.
That's true.
I mean, just think about if you're poor, if you lose everything, say you lose your house and you lose your car and you lose your wife and you lose your family and you were poor, not even going to prison, but you're just poor, and say you're living with someone or you're doing this. You know how hard it is to get back in society and to get back to be successful? It is extremely hard. You got to fight your way from the freaking bottom, right?
Things are starting to change.
It is, but what I'm saying is still hard. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, now ex prisoners are they have the right to vote now. They can vote now.
Not felons, though.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
really?
No. Felons, you can't still, no.
I don't know about that.
But my point is that, look, here's my point, is that it's hard enough not having any criminal charges.
Right.
And,
That's exactly
and
right.
making your way back to
That's
being
exactly
successful. But imagine going to prison and you're a felon, and they go through all this shit when you're in prison that they're reforming you. You're going to be a better person when you get out. You're going to believe in God, and you're going to do all this shit. But when you get out, you realize that society doesn't accept you whatsoever. Society doesn't want you working for them. Society doesn't want you to do this. You might as well not even apply for jobs because you're not going to get it. And especially with as competitive as the job market is now, it's just you're just screwed. And in a lot of cases, I don't blame employers, because a lot of the employers that try to hire people like that will end up regretting it. They'll end up having shit stolen. They'll end up, confrontations with customers or this and that. But why not, if we didn't have all the illegals that are doing those jobs, such as picking apples and picking this and picking that, your ass comes out as a felon. Yeah, you did make the mistake. You got to work your way back. We're going to give you a job, but you're going to be out in the apple crops picking apples.
But see, that's just the thing. Due to the fact that they are Americans, born and raised.
Don't matter, though.
I know it doesn't
it's
matter.
better not having a job.
But they are not going to do it.
Well, I guess the question
Too
is,
much pride.
would they rather go and do shit legal still? And they probably would.
The majority of them are.
Yeah, exactly.
The majority, not
So
all of them.
what's the answer then? Because I guess there's really not a great answer for people that go to prison under a felony, because you're taking a big chance on hiring those people, especially if you're a reputable, bigger company.
Well, the good thing about America is that if I was an ex-con, they can't stop me from getting out of prison and going back to school and getting my education and starting my own business. They still have that option. And there is some great talent behind those prison walls, bro.
Oh yeah, there is.
I've heard people
some of the
say,
art
yeah,
that's behind there is insane.
Yeah. I've heard people say that they can fix anything. You got people that can sing. I mean, you got people. I mean, they can do anything. There's a lot of talent. But let me tell you why
that should be some kind of motivational entrepreneur thing. And the reason I say that is because when you're in prison, you have nothing other to do. Nothing. You have to concentrate on one thing. So if that's art, that's what you're doing. Your mindset is all art. You're all art and all art. And guess what happens with those prisoners, man? They come out badass artists eventually.
Yeah,
because that's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Same thing with anything you guys want to do out there that you feel scared to do, or you don't think you're good enough at. You can always get good enough at something to be great at it.
Yeah.
And just let prisoners be the example of that, man. I mean, some of these prisoners didn't do art for shit when they went to prison, and they did it enough to where they got experts at it.
Right. And they used to allow prisoners to get educated. I don't know if they're still doing that or not.
I don't think they do that.
They don't do that anymore?
No, I don't think so.
I know they used to.
They'll let them lead, church services in prison and all that stuff, but I don't know about education. I mean, I think a lot of that kind of falls on themselves to buy books and to do this and to do that.
I mean, because I knew a prisoner one time that took up skilled trades like welding or auto body, mechanics. They used to let them do that in prison.
Wow.
I don't know if they still do that or not.
That is, they do. They
really?
do. Yeah, I mean, I think the skilled trade stuff they do. But I think as far as some other shit, business, because they probably know they're never going to get a business job anyway.
Yeah. Unless they start their own business.
Yeah. Which is probably the best option.
You got some smart guys. You got some very educated.
Oh, yeah, you do, yeah. No, a lot of the prisoners are really smart-ass people.
Yeah. They just make bad decisions.
Yeah, they do.
Just think about all the gangbangers out in Chicago.
Yeah.
Some of those people are probably very intelligent people.
Well, it's something that Gary V said, Gary Vanderchuk, and I don't know if you know who he is.
I've heard of him.
He's one of the biggest entrepreneur. He's a badass when it comes to businesses and whatever. And he said if I could hire one person in the world, I would hire a drug dealer.
Really?
He said, the reason I'll tell you why is because they're the most badass salespeople. They do it under extreme pressure. You know, they do it under the most crazy pressure.
Yeah.
You're selling with the very real possibility of going to prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, I would hire a drug dealer. I want someone with that mentality.
That's right.
And
That's right.
a lot of salespeople don't, because they take for granted the opportunities they have.
Yeah.
And I think a big problem in this country still is people take advantage of opportunities. Just like Logan Paul, the YouTuber that just fought KSI, which is a big thing. Logan Paul is the biggest YouTuber in the United States. KSI is the biggest YouTuber in UK. KSI is black. Logan Paul's white. And they were huge. And then they somehow got into this boxing thing, beef, and they're like, well, let's have a boxing match. And then they trained with professional boxing trainers for 4 months. And now they both made, actually a new figure I just saw was like $55 million a piece for this boxing thing. It was the biggest online YouTube event ever streamed.
Just give me 30 seconds. I mean, just put me in the ring with them for 30 seconds. It don't have to be a whole minute. Just, hell, how much? I could have made about $5 million, couldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter if you would have got beat your ass down, you would have still made the money.
Hell,
it's in the contract, so it don't matter what happens.
Hey, I'll be going to the bank thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if you got a broke neck. You can pay for the broke neck, you know?
Damn, $50 million, bro.
Yeah, or 55 or somewhere around there. It was insane.
That's Mayweather shit.
But the reason, no, it's true. But the problem is that, you know, so many Americans don't believe in themselves ever enough to ever make a step to do anything that might actually lead them to a situation like that.
Just like here, when did we started talking about this podcast? A couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
I mean, before we really started believing it.
Yeah. And we've had a couple situations where we've talked about other things similar, but not like this. I mean, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, and we're like, we got to do this.
Yeah.
And we made it happen.
Yeah, we made it happen. And it could lead to something big.
And it's up to you guys.
That's right.
And it's not just for us, man. Like we're doing this. Like we're not doing the podcast to divide people. We're doing anything, we're trying to bring people together.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about the reality of life, the reality of the United States, the reality of the world. And that's one of the main reasons that, you know, Mr. Tutt is one of my best friends. He's black, I'm white. But just because he's black and just because I'm white doesn't mean we can't be best friends. Doesn't mean that he is, you know, a bad or crazy person, or I'm a bad or crazy person for being white. I mean, it's all about who you are as a person. It has nothing to do with anything else. And it just so happens that a lot of liberals are fucking crazy.
and another
they are,
thing,
though. I'm sorry.
You know, just bringing awareness to people. You know, letting people know the small details of things, you know.
And our thoughts on it. I mean, you know, just because what we think about something is not right, but damn it, I feel like we're true Americans. And and that's why I wanted to bring both of us together. Including Sherry, my wife, and she has a little different opinions on some things than we do. But you know, I wanted to bring us together because I wanted to show that, you know, just because you're a different color, it's just like Kanye when he came out and supported Trump, and because of what he believed, he said, I feel like so many black people feel like they have to be Democrat because they're black, and that's not true.
Right, that's right.
You have to do in your heart what you feel like is the right thing.
Right.
And I'm not saying that everything conservative is the right thing. It isn't. And I'm not saying everything Democrat is the wrong thing. But what I am saying is that we're here. I think we align more so with conservative views and values. But we're just realist. I think if we had a party that we were going to pick, it would be realist. And so when I talk about you better learn survival, you better start thinking about shit like that. You better start thinking about if the country does go down, because I'm one of those people that believe that's very possible.
Right. Right.
And
it's true.
And we're at a climate in our country that it could go either way, and it could go really bad very quickly.
Yeah.
Obama was the worst 8 years that I think. I mean, honestly, I think the climate of the country was one of the most unstable in 100 years.
Yeah, I don't think Obama. Put it this way, Obama didn't do anything, in my opinion, to really hurt the country.
Oh, he did.
Put it this way.
Or maybe sometimes it was.
He didn't make it
a
whole lot. He didn't make it a whole lot better, but he didn't make it a whole lot worse either.
See, I disagree with that.
Because a lot of things that the president before Obama did,
I'm not saying Bush did great either.
No. I mean, he did. I didn't say he done great, but Obama had to clean up or make a lot of things better after that administration. But Trump really doesn't have to work as hard as Obama did his
Are you
first term.
crazy?
Nah.
Come on, man. Are
Nah.
you freaking shitting me?
Nah, Trump.
Oh my
Trump doesn't have
God.
to work as hard as Obama did, man.
Guys, I'm waiting
telling
on
you.
your emails.
I'm telling you.
waiting on
I'm
your
telling
emails.
you. Okay, when Obama, right before Obama got into office, a year before he got into office, or the year he got elected, we had a recession. You know, and that wasn't his fault. He was the new man on the totem pole.
No, he just made it worse.
I mean, but he brought us out of it.
No, he didn't. Well, he didn't really.
I mean,
bring us out of it.
we're better now than we were in 2007, 2008.
Well, I'll tell you, our stock market is better now than in freaking maybe ever.
Well, Trump's a money man, so
He is. He knows business.
He's gonna make sure of that. And just like I didn't agree with everything Obama said or Obama did, but I didn't disagree with everything he said or did. And same thing with Trump. I'm not going to approve
of everything just because he's Trump or just because he's not Trump. Yeah.
Or that he does, but I'm not going to disapprove or criticize everything he does. Cause he's going to do some things that I like.
Yeah.
But he's going to do some things that I don't like.
Obama, you know what he did that I liked? He was a good speaker, and that was about it.
Oh my God.
He was. He could bullshit you. He could be a car salesman, and he should be. He
would
would probably be a millionaire car
salesman.
salesman.
He would be the best car salesman.
Oh, he would. He'd be a millionaire. He could sell you a piece of shit car for $100,000.
Hillary called him out, bro. She said it takes more than giving speeches to being a better president.
Oh, it does.
So,
she's right. That's the one thing I will say she's right on. The only fucking thing.
That's one thing. He's the best speech maker, you know.
And I didn't hate Clinton either, Bill.
Oh,
I didn't hate Bill Clinton.
That was my man, bro.
I didn't hate Bill Clinton.
That was the first black president.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And that's why a lot of black people liked Bill Clinton. They did, man. They're like, damn.
Oh, Clinton, man, leave Clinton alone. He was just trying to be a player.
Yeah, he was. There ain't no doubt about that. But yeah. But anyways, hey, I think we talked about a lot of good stuff tonight.
Oh yeah, we had a good show, man. Hey, that first show I think was excellent. You know, we had to come back with another good show. You know, just like
it's like an album.
Just like an album. You know, that first album is going to be great, but that second album got to complement that first.
Well, this
album.
ain't well. Technically, we're on our second track, so we still got some. We still got some.
We on the second track.
We still got some things to do. We ain't even to the second album.
Well, as long as the second track goes platinum, I'm good.
But guys, look, we want you guys to stay with us, man. We want you to support us because we want to support you guys, man. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this podcast to support you, to support the people that are true Americans, that believe in America still and then believe in God. And even if you don't believe in God and you're an American and you're a patriot, we want you with us. We want you to stay with us. We want you to support us. We want to support you. We want to hear from you guys. We want to be a community. We want to rock this. We want to be somewhere that nobody can break us. And we want to be a community that if some shit really does go down, that you guys are here for us and we're there for you. And
right.
And I think that we can all do that. So guys, I appreciate so much you guys tuning in tonight to the True Patriot Show podcast, State of the Union. I think you know where America stands. It's one of those things, man. It's either going to get better or worse. And I believe that depending on certain situations, it can definitely get worse. But the thing is, man, we got to keep free speech going, and we got to we have to keep pushing what we believe in. And I believe that God has our back. I believe the country, the true Americans, the patriots have our back. And I think this is a great meeting point for those people. And so I thank all of you for coming tonight. Until next Tuesday, Chad's out.
I holla.
Peace out. Y'all have a
come that you run my life with no hope to fight, and no time to hide. And I'm sinking under, drowning faster. Please just let me breathe. The air is leaving and I'm lost in need of you again. You break me down and you make me surrender. We are as Romeo and Juliet. To a code we all swore, for this life we have chosen. Armored soldiers to a common war we fight, and to this passion of love we may fair out and die. I'm slipping further, we're falling faster, you're growing stronger. Let's